The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji just wrapped up a press conference with the media here at the Combine. What they said certainly was notable. We will recap their big takeaways, and I'll tell you what I thought of what Glenn and Muji said about the direction of the Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show, live from the Combine here in Indy, and it starts right now.
Live, Radio Row in Indianapolis. It's Combine time as teams look for their next superstar. Some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Get ready for the 2026 draft, baby. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Live from Indy, the Indiana Convention Center. Here we go. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Appreciate everyone being tuned in. A lot to talk about. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Big thank you to the Asmaniacs for helping this show hit over 44,000 subs on YouTube earlier this week. Make sure you guys are locked and loaded as we will have some great interviews coming your way throughout the week. I just spoke with Mike Florio, so that interview will air on the channel either later today or tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. We got a bunch of great draft analysts that I've booked to come on the show, and I'm working on some real big names in addition to the guys that you know and love, like Nick Faria, Will Parkinson, Connor Rogers, Zach Rosenblat, who's expected to join me coming up if you're watching this live. So we got a bunch of big-name guests. Brian Costello's here from the Post as well. So if you're a fan of the show, you'll get regulars, and you also will get some bigger names that are making the rounds here at the Indianapolis Convention Center here, the Indiana Convention Center. Now that we've said that, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about today's presser, shall we? So Glenn spoke first, and the big takeaway was Aaron Glenn confirming that he will, in fact, be the play caller on defense. And he even took it to a step I wasn't sure if he was going to go there and flat out say. Basically talked about how good he was as a DC with the Lions. Talked about how each year they got better. Referenced the final year when they were a top 10 defense. He said play calling is my superpower. So, for those who missed it, we'll give you Aaron Glenn saying that play calling is, in fact, his superpower, because you hear that, now you got to deliver if you're Aaron Glenn, right? You got to go out there and you have to obviously prove that you're one of the better defensive minds in the sport if you're going to go down that path. So I'll tell you what, this is why you don't do things live. It will not let me screen share because I'm using a different setting here as we're on remote here. So I can't actually play the full press conference clip, which I thought I had appropriately cut up. Well, that's an issue. I'll read you the quote then, because that's the best way to do this here. The full quote, when he was asked specifically about why he chose to be the defensive coordinator or the de facto defensive coordinator, is, quote, "To me, play calling is my superpower, really. Doing it for 4 years in Detroit, and just look at the maturation of those 4 years of how we improved every year and how I improved as a play caller. I really miss doing that. And I think a huge part of helping us become the team that I see us becoming, the team that I know Darren sees us becoming, the team that I know Woody sees us becoming, is him calling the plays." Again, I mean, he was asked point blank about the Wink Martindale situation when Wink was flown in, experienced veteran DC. A lot of people felt like he was going to get the deal, and some rumblings of Woody basically putting the kibosh on it. Glenn saying that's not true. Glenn said that he expressed to Wink that he would be the play caller, and Wink said he was still interested in the role, but ultimately they went with the DC choice of Brian Duker because Duke was with Aaron Glenn for 3 years in Detroit and knows exactly what he wants as a DC. So you have that. I thought it was notable. Glenn went out of his way to also discuss the fact that he knows all the mistakes he made in year one, and he's going to try and do a much better job in year two. Look, all the talk we've heard this as Jet fans before. You got to see actual results now on the field, but I mean, at least he showed awareness of how bad year one was, right? You know, we don't need to put lipstick on a pig, so to speak. We can acknowledge how awful year one was and the things that need to be improved for things to be better. As far as the coaching search, Glenn said it was intentional on how long it took for them to hire guys. I mean, ultimately, we're talking about 10 new assistants, including both coordinators, so time will tell on that. There was no specific question that was asked to Glenn about any personnel moves, which I found interesting. It also was frustrating that we didn't get the chance to really ask as many questions as we would have wanted. I got 2 questions in with Darren Muji, which I'll cover, and I couldn't get one in with Glenn, and I tried. I was going to ask him, now that you're a year in on the job, what would you say your strengths are as a head coach? And I didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to ask that question. So there's that. But, I think one of the things that I took down in my notes here was Glenn really trying to push back on the idea that, Woody Johnson was meddling. Woody Johnson was basically telling him who to hire. He went out of his way of saying that Woody Johnson only tells him to, Glenn will go to him with an idea, and Woody's response is, well, how can I help? How can I help? So whether you believe that or not, that's for you to determine. Glenn also, I thought it was interesting, he referenced at one point in the presser how there's a lot of narratives out there, a lot of things that are said that aren't true. But then he said, but the only way we'll be able to change some of this stuff is if we win, which, bingo, that's the big thing. But, again, the big thing from Glenn, taking over the defense, play calling is his superpower. A lot of meat on the bone with some other questions that, unfortunately, weren't able to be asked. With Muji, there were way more things that were able to be asked. Less national people attended that, so we got more just hardcore football talk. In fact, I had a front row for Muji. Here's Darren Muji staring into my soul in the front row of this presser here. But here were some of the things I thought were interesting from Muji. The biggest thing and the one that will get the most news is Breece Hall is not going anywhere. Muji essentially said they will use the franchise tag or the transition tag. Didn't definitively say which one, but they will use one of the tags on Breece if they can't get a long-term deal. So I asked Muji, I go, does Breece want to be a Jet, right? Because the Jets could put the tag on him and they could keep him. But there's a lot of people out there who think through Breece's body language or some of his tweets in the past, does he actually want to be here? And Muji says that he got the feeling from talking with Breece and his representatives that he does want to remain a Jet. So take that for what it's worth. Now, I agree with this. You can't lose Breece for nothing. Breece is not going to be a free agent. They are going to put a franchise tag, I believe, on him when push comes to shove. If they were to use the transition tag, what is stopping another team from making an offer that prices out what the Jets were willing to pay? If you want Breece here, you either get a long-term deal done, which I would have no problem if the Jets signed Breece Hall to a contract that essentially would guarantee him 2 years, or you use the franchise tag for around $14.3 million. I don't believe, based on what I know, I don't believe that it would be smart for the Jets to use the transition tag, because I think there's other teams out there that would make an offer and the Jets maybe wouldn't match it. And if you're going to lose the player because you're worried of someone else making an offer, that's too big of a risk, right? Just use the franchise tag instead of having to pay Breece 11 point something. It's now 14 point something. For the extra $3 million, you guarantee yourself the player. So it's either they get a deal done or I think they use the franchise tag. Because the transition tag, is it likely that someone makes an offer that the Jets would then have to match? Is it likely someone even makes an offer? I'm not sure. I don't want to take the chance, though. Again, I'm looking it up right now just to be accurate here. Transition tag for a running back is $11.72 million. Franchise tag for a running back is $14.53 million. For the extra $3 million, when you have all these other needs, just keep Breece. For the difference of $3 million, keep him. Now, if Breece says, I won't play on the tag, tough, you're a running back. And by the way, 14.3 is probably more money than he would get on a per-year basis from a different team. I don't know if anyone is going to give Breece Hall more money than that. That'd be surprising. So there's that as well. Some of the other things I wrote in my notes here from Muji. When he was asked specifically about trading up for the number 1 pick, he essentially laughed at the idea, saying it's not going to happen. So we could put together whatever concocted trade proposal you want to try and put together. The idea that the Jets are going to be able to make some sort of deal with the Las Vegas Raiders to come up and get Fernando Mendoza, that ship has sailed. Again, when Kubiak took that job, he took that job to coach Mendoza as his quarterback. So Muji was asked about trading up, and he has a relationship with John Spytek, who's the GM of the Raiders. He says he speaks with GMs, including Spytech, all the time. He smiled and said, quote, "I don't think that's happening, though." So there you go. When asked about Fields, he said he's under contract, and there's no trigger date that forces them to have to trade Justin Fields. So Fields right now, because he's under contract, they don't need to do anything. Right? They could designate him with a June 1st release, and that will save them some money if they want to go down that route. But there's no concrete deadline where, first day of the new league year, like his contract becomes guaranteed. Like his contract is the contract. That's where you hear the term like no trigger dates. So he's here. Nick Faria, shout out to him, asked a good question of Muji, says they will consider bringing in a quarterback that fits what Frank Reich would prefer at the position. So that obviously means taller, big arm, however you want to define that. That was something that apparently Frank Reich looks for in a QB. But yeah, the Jets are got to be obviously very fluid with their options here. But I don't think Kyler Murray, for example, is going to be a Jet. Asked about AVT. I mean, again, he said they're interested. They're still working through both him and Simpson. So that was kind of like a non-answer. Like with Brees, it's like, we're going to bring him back. It's either going to be signed or we're going to use the tag. With AVT and Simpson, it was way more like, yeah, we're kind of working through that right now. To me, it sounded like Will McDonald was going to get his fifth-year option picked up, which I think is the right move. He's a pass rusher. If he has a breakout year with better coaching now with Glenn calling the defense, you're going to want to keep him under contract for that extra year. So to me, that was a no-brainer as well in terms of the Will McDonald fifth-year option. In fact, I wrote down the quote from Muji, "We feel good about Will and that being a possibility." So again, I'd be surprised if Will McDonald does not get his fifth-year option that's picked up. But I'm curious how the fans who saw the presser, what your big takeaways were. It's kind of tricky when you're actually in it. Like, what's the quote that's making the most headlines? And I think the superpower quote from Glenn, that play calling is my superpower, I think that's the early contender for what I have seen, has made the most news besides the obvious with Breece Hall, the fact that he's not going anywhere. The Jets will use the tag if they can't get some sort of long-term deal worked out with Breece. So that's kind of where things stand. From my vantage point, again, I thought Muji offered some good insight. I thought he had good control of the room for what it's worth. None of this matters. At the end of the day, as we know, they got to win games. That's it. They got to be a lot better. In fact, I actually asked Muji at the end of the presser, one of the last questions, I go, you talked about how you want to be a lot more competitive this year, but you also have the 3 firsts in 2027. So I was essentially asking, well, how do you balance trying to be a lot better knowing that you also have like these 3 firsts in 2027? And he said that we will be a lot better this upcoming year, and it's nice to have those 3 firsts, but we're all focused on 2026. And he's like, I love the draft capital that we have this year as well. So, again, we've heard this from different coaches and GMs, and until it changes, fans have every right to remain skeptical about this team. But ultimately, I'll give Aaron Glenn this. I did like the fact that he took a lot of accountability at the beginning of his press conference. He said, I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. He even acknowledged the fact that when he's calling the defense, he's like, that will not stop me from still having a feel of the game, being able to make in-game decisions that need to be made. He said something along those lines. And again, I think if you're the Jets, if you're Aaron Glenn, go down doing what you're really good at, right? Your superpower is play calling. Well, let's see it, because it's all on you now. No one's going to hold it against Aaron Glenn if the Jets don't have a franchise quarterback at the end of the 2026 season. We understand you can't just force it. You can't just draft Ty Simpson and say, we got our guy. That'd be dumb. But the one thing Aaron Glenn can control, he can control the defense. And now he's saying it's his superpower. Let's go out there and actually see it. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We'll hit a quick break. When we come back, Jets insider for The Athletic, Zach Rosenblat, is going to be sitting down at our Radio Row table. He was standing right next to me during both of these pressers. We'll get his thoughts on what stood out from both Glenn and Muji and talk about the latest from the Combine and what Zach's hearing in regards to the Jets. Quick break, and we're back with that. You're watching the Jake Asman Show live from Radio Row here inside the Indiana Convention Center at the NFL Scouting Combine. We're back right after these words.
You can sign any Jet quarterback, but there's going to be no one that can get better tail than what Joe Namath did. He was
Ladies and gentlemen, Gorman doing the seizure celebration. Here it is on the screen, folks. This is what Charles Gorman is reenacting right now. He wants your support. Give us the seizure. Mike Perez, first time you cleaned your floor. Great point.
Nice and thought, but I should have. I wish I didn't break my. How you doing, everybody?
Did I just see what I thought I just saw?
What?
Maybe, yeah.
What?
Maybe not safe for work. Bob, all the love. What did I just see there?
Was that
It might have been.
right?
It might have been.
Any hot nurses in the hospital, Bob?
Oh, there's one, I think. She's blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little high. On Facebook one time, this guy, he had a cat in his hand and a gun to the cat's head. So I actually called the jail where he was. I wanted to, you can't talk to him. Why not? Oh, it's the rules. You can't talk to him.
Gary called you a midwit for enjoying a nice pint of beer.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I could tackle world hunger. I could tackle a bottle of I don't give a shit.
Gator says you have a Cybertruck on your face there, Sean.
I have a Cybertruck on my nuts.
AG sucks, Wilk sucks, and Tanner sucks. Jay Reeves, you are soft. You have so much to say in the chat. Don't be in the chat telling me that I'm stupid and that you know more than me. I can football knowledge you to death, bro. I might be stupid, but I know football. Don't be in the chat just...
Joe, how we feeling?
So far, so good. It's better than I thought it would be.
We got a question from Kevin. He wants to know, did you get a sponge bath yet?
No, I haven't got a sponge bath.
It is a sign of a gentleman to pick one's nose with their pinky and to eat it. That's the first thing they teach you at the finishing school annex at Hogwarts. You don't get to become a gentleman wizard without learning how to do that. That is the way to do it. You do it with your index finger, your middle finger, or worse, blow it into a tissue and eat it out of there.
Derek Jeter, I was MVP of the World Series. I played shortstop for the Yankees. I have millions of dollars.
I call Sean a midwit here.
Okay, so you're playing a semantics game.
Did I say Sean's a midwit there? Yes or no? Midwit is a play on the word nitwit. Nitwit is someone who is dumb. A midwit is a person of average intelligence.
Gentlemen, Sean joins us now. Sean, do you forgive Gary for calling you a midwit? It's an internet slang term for a person of average or slightly above average intelligence who thinks they're exceptionally smart.
Midwit is not a word.
This kid Mad Max. Why does he have such a hard time getting chicks?
Gator says it's always great to take the advice of a half-concussed Xboxer, full-time gambler, and midwit.
No one here has been arrested?
Have you been arrested, Gary?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Whoa, that means you have been.
Remember yesterday you walked 2 blocks in the rain and Nick Shine gave you an apple pie which you made sex with?
I didn't have sex with it. Even though you look like a butterball turkey, I do love you.
Gator says, now I know what a toilet bowl sees after Taco Bell.
And then when
Burner says, got a rectal exam and left with a camera. Brian wants to know, are you inside a human asshole? And it was nice to see how JJ was so appreciative of the soldiers that fought for the country when he thanked fellow Asmaniac Scott for his service fighting in World War II.
You were in World War II? Thanks for your service.
Look, I'm darker skinned, so are you. Maybe? No? Yes?
Don't put too much on this on because you'll have a roasted asshole by the end of the night and going, ah!
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
Fitting to see Aaron Glenn up there at the podium because about an hour ago, he was up at the podium talking about the state of his football team. We're back here at the NFL Scouting Combine, and my guest is Zach Rosenblat, who covers the New York Jets for The Athletic. Zach, you and I were both there watching Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji address the media. You asked several questions to each. Let's just start with the biggest takeaway from Glenn. What stood out to you?
I think we all knew it was coming, but I think just the way he was talking about play calling and his thought process with that felt like the biggest, most notable thing. I know he was criticized by a lot of people, including me, about the process they took to get to this point. I think it was probably ultimately the right destination. And I think he did a good job of explaining his thought process and all that stuff. Like you can still, maybe, I don't know if everybody believes all of it, like the wink stuff and all that stuff. But I do think him taking over play calling and why he's doing it and why he hired Brian Duker, like it all just makes sense when you lay it out. And so I think for him, it might have done him a service if he had spoken sooner about like his thought process and all that stuff, because this is like over a month after it all happened. But yeah, I think that's the biggest news, the biggest takeaway, I think.
So your question to Glenn also gave us the best quote about his play calling being a superpower. For those who missed it, I was able to pull it. Here's Zach's question to AG.
And then what would you say about like how much different the defense will look if you fully like on that side?
To me, play call is my superpower, really. Doing it for 4 years in Detroit, and man, just look at the maturation of those 4 years of how we improved every year and how I improved as a play caller. I really miss doing that, and I think it's a huge part of helping us become the team that I see us become, the team that I knew Mooj see us become, the team that Woody sees us becoming. So that was a huge part of that, and I don't want to second guess that. And I will go back when I say the mistakes that I made. I'm not going to make that same mistake, and I feel like I need to do that when it comes to the team. When it comes schematically, who we're going to beat, man, we have a number of guys on defense that's going to help be able to build that. And that's the fun part about building around these men is building a defense that I think that that's going to actually put the players in position to be successful. And this is not my defense. This is going to be the New York Jets defense. And everybody on that side is going to be a huge part as far as building that. So I'm excited about that.
Okay. Play calling, his superpower. I mean, I thought you made a good point. Maybe how we got here was bumpy, but I do think Glenn, as the play caller, almost like in that answer, they're saying, like, if I'm going down doing what I love. I don't have a problem with that. I just wonder, like, what's the real story? Because it felt like there was a lot from Glenn when even today, like the defending Woody Johnson for some of the narratives that are out there. Well, these narratives are out there because in the past, a lot of these things have turned out to be true.
Yeah, and he kind of like alluded this at the start of because he was asked about Woody, and at the beginning of his answer, he's like, there's, when you win, certain narratives go away, and there's narratives about the Jets and about Woody Johnson that I wish weren't there. But the reality is those are the narratives because it's happened in the past. Like Woody has interjected, and everybody you talk to, like around Glenn and obviously close to Woody, they all like vehemently like defend, like, no, he did not force him to do anything. And the only ones that really know the answer to that are the people who are in that room in Palm Beach, or Woody and him and Jaime and Muji and whoever else was in there. They're the only ones who know the real answers, but they insist that, this was my call. Something they've talked about both at the podium and privately is that, like, when he fired Steve Wilkes and Chris Harris took over, like, he got way more involved with the defense. And even Muji was like, guys, there was like a different energy about him, like something was different. So Muji, like, said in his head, like, I thought this was going to be a possibility. Like, we went through the interview process, and it still felt to me, like, as we went on, that I thought Aaron Glenn was going to call plays. And there's something to that. Like, you even heard, not to bring up Robert Saleh, who also always talked about superpowers. But he, since he came to Tennessee, has talked about, like, he did feel like not calling plays, like he felt disconnected from the players and stuff. And Aaron Glenn today was like, I miss being able to talk to the mic during the game, the middle linebacker, which all I can think in that moment is like Alex Anzalone.
I was about to say, you put the tweet in your drafts right now.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, to what you're saying, like, I think it's okay to talk about both sides of it. Like, okay, maybe we don't all understand like why the process went the way it did, the timeline and all that stuff. But the destination ultimately was the right move. I do think it's the right move for him to call plays. To his point, like, it's why he got this job. The Lions defense that last year was its best version of itself, and he doesn't have 4 years to figure it out here. But I'm very curious to see how this looks, how aggressive they are, and if he can turn it around, because he's putting it on himself, he's putting it on his shoulders.
If you guys have a question for Zach during this conversation, super chat it in. Reminder, $10 super chats will get you in the raffle. We added a third prize to our weekly raffle this week. Name It signed helmet, Revis signed helmet, Garrett Wilson signed football, our third prize in the weekly raffle. I did think it was interesting how Glenn started his presser basically saying that, like, last year was unacceptable. He learned a lot. Like, he did show a lot of accountability in that moment, and I could speak as a fan. I know I certainly have been as tough on Glenn as anyone. And I did appreciate that, hearing that, before he really started to address the current team.
Yeah, it seems like he thinks the biggest mistake he made is not calling plays, honestly. Like, if you hear the way he talks about it, he's like, I'm not making that mistake again. He didn't get to many other specifics, and I know there was a lot of things that he learned on the fly. And I thought in his season-ending press conference, I thought it was interesting where he kind of like admitted, like, a lot of mistakes I made were because I was a first-time head coach, essentially, was what he said, which is not the way he carried himself when he first got here. And so
it was a way different tone at the podium this year than last year.
For sure. And so what I would say is, like, and I know a lot of fans are skeptical of him. I have my skepticism, but the hope is he learned the right lessons from last year. And so if he learned the right lessons and maybe he has the right staff now, maybe they're going on the right path, but then you're balancing the fact that like we're so bad last year that you need to take a pretty decent jump to prove to anybody that you deserve this job. So there's a lot he still has to prove and show, and this offseason is going to be huge and who their quarterback is and stuff. But I think it would be okay to come away from that press conference more encouraged than maybe you guys as like fans have been in a while, I would say.
It was unfortunate that the presser, I feel like when it's like these national opportunities, it kind of gets hijacked by some of the questions that just aren't relevant to like what the fans actually care about. But some of the other takeaways I had just listening to him, it was like briefly mentioned about Frank Reich, but Muji was asked more about like Frank Reich's role in the quarterback process. But I really would have loved to have like been able to like ask Aaron Glenn specifically, like, hey, like you guys made this Justin Fields choice, like you backed him, said that this was your guy. What did you learn from that? And like how involved is Frank Reich now going to be as a former quarterback and experienced offensive guy in like the next process of selecting a quarterback?
I think it's pretty clear Frank is going to be pretty heavily involved in that process. I mean, Muji saying that was interesting, like him going out of his way to say that. So, and it makes sense. You're going to lean on Frank Reich. He has the relationships. He has the background, whatever you think about how the play calling will look and how is Frank going to do in terms of like building a modern offense. Like, I think those are fair concerns to have, but I trust his evaluation ability as like looking at quarterbacks. And so that's something that I know there's gonna be a lot of questions about like who the Jets guy is. Like you see a lot of reporting, everybody like, oh, the Jets, watch out for Tanner McKee and Davis Mills. And
you could just name any quarterback and just say Jets.
I'm telling you right now, like the Jets do not know who their top target is. Like they're really evaluating right now. And that's kind of what Aaron, like we talked about the timeline, and Aaron Glenn's like, the timeline, it was always the plan because I was evaluating. I was just evaluating the whole time. Like they're going to take their time to evaluate. And I think it is the right move. Like, and it's not a great offseason for a quarterback. So they really have to do their work on these guys. Like if it's Kyler Murray, you need to dig in like, okay, is all the attitude stuff, is that just because he's in Arizona? Like, can we get through to him? If it's Tanner McKee, like scouting his tape and like, do we see enough to where we can like, is this guy going to be our starter? Or, whatever it is, like they really need to dig into these guys, into their backgrounds and come to the right conclusion. And you also need to wait to see who's going to be available. Like Kirk Cousins, we know is going to be, is Geno Smith going to be available? Like who else is going to get cut? Who else is available on the trade market? How much would it cost? So that I really don't think they know who their next quarterback is going to be right now. I don't think they know who their number one target is right now. Whereas, a couple years ago when we were here, I probably was on your show, like Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr was in the ether, but like when Rodgers became a possibility, it was like, okay, that's their number one target. There's no Aaron Rodgers for them to be like.
Even last year, it felt like we had a pretty good idea they were going to target Fields.
Yeah, especially because everybody was pointing out that he loved him when he coached against him, a lot of stuff. So yeah, I just, it's really wide open, and it's hard for me even as like a writer trying to cover it. Like, it's hard for me to like predict who the guy's going to be right now. Like as this week goes on, we'll try and figure it out. But I also don't think Aaron Glenn, say what you want about it, he really cares a lot about leaks and stuff getting out to the point where I don't know that he's even telling people in the building what he's thinking. So I think he's keeping him and Muji have a plan, and I'm sure Reich is in on that and all that stuff, and they'll expand it outward as they go forward. But the only person that knows who Aaron Glenn wants is Aaron Glenn, and he's not just telling somebody who's going to go and tell some random reporter. So,
yep, I think it's totally fair.
Yeah.
Delray Doc with the super chat. He's not sold. Glenn told us absolutely nothing. Of course, he had to apologize for a record-breaking bad year. No reason to trust him. Look, I mean, it was bad, and we all understand that. I do wonder, and I tried to ask Muji, basically a version of this question, but essentially, like, everyone's already talking about, hey, the 3 first-round picks in 2027, like, get the quarterback there. Like, no one even, acknowledges this. Like, you still got to get through this year to figure out where you're picking to even use some of those picks. Like, how do you balance needing to try and win a lot more games in 2026 just so you get the opportunity, if you're Aaron Glenn and even Darren Muji, to actually be able to use the war chest of assets they've accumulated for that year?
It's going to be really interesting to see how they toe the line, because like the best way to succeed as a franchise is to not like make decisions where you feel like you're under pressure to. It's just to make the best decisions for the organization. But the way the NFL works is you're always on a clock. And so are they going to,
like if they're going to trade for a quarterback, like what is too much to trade for a 1-year bridge in all likelihood?
Yeah. It's really hard to figure out. Like, and if you trade for a Mac Jones, like, are you trading a second-round pick for him because he's your bridge, or do you think you have a chance to have your guy? Like, if it's only the bridge, and that means you're really just trying to win right now to save your jobs, kind of. So and they have so much money. How are they going to spend that money? Are you going to overspend on guys that you shouldn't? Which the Jets have gotten into this trap of in the past, obviously, where you overemphasize all this money you have and you spend it on guys who wind up not working out or being good fits. And I do think last year Muji, not all the guys worked out, but he did a good job of like really shopping the middle of the market, not really, overextending yourself and signing long-term deals to anybody. And this is our first experience with them having this much of their assets at their hands. And I'm very curious to see how they approach it. I do think they're going to spend, I don't know if it's going to be at the top of the market or what that looks like. But
one of the things we did learn is that Breece Hall is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what version of the tag they use, franchise tag or transition tag, or if they could work out a long-term deal. So Muji confirmed that, and I wanted to ask him, well, we keep hearing about Breece. Does he want to be here? Body language, people look at his tweets and try to interpret that. So I asked him, I'm like, do you get the sense Breece wants to be here? And he said, yes, I do think Breece wants to be here. Is that just because he just wants an extension because he knows the Jets aren't going to let him go? Or from what you've heard, do you think there is a genuine desire to still remain a Jet if you're Breece Hall?
I think there's a desire from Breece to get as much money as he can. And I don't say that in a derogatory way. I think he would like to hit free agency, frankly. And that's not to say he doesn't want to come back to the Jets. But, I've been reporting this for a few weeks now that the franchise tag was always likely. Like, especially they kind of were telling that was going to happen when they rejected all these trades for him at the deadline.
Right.
You don't do that and then turn around and just let him walk out the door.
It'd be poor asset management.
But the interesting part of what Muji was saying, like he really made it seem like we want him back. So it's not like we're going to tag him and then trade him. It's we want him back. And so hopefully we can come to a contract agreement. If not, we'll find other ways of bringing him back, which is one of the tags. And so him saying that, I wonder if that makes it more likely that it's franchise tag, but I don't say that with any like sort of specific knowledge because the transition one, it's a little more easy to lose them because somebody can come in and blow them away with an offer. Whereas franchise tag, that doesn't really happen because of the first round pick and third round pick and all that stuff. So, but yeah, Breece is going to be back. And it's funny because like throughout the season, it felt like it was like up and down. Like I felt like really confident at points that he was definitely coming back. Others that he wasn't. Then the trade deadline thing happens and he stays. And it's like, well, they can't get rid of him now. Or if they do, like, yeah, I don't know. So I think Breece will be back. And I think a big reason for that, frankly, is they don't really have many good players. And you just can't let guys walk out the door and create another hole that wasn't there before.
Well, this is a huge if because it's the Jets. But if they had competent quarterback play, it's not a bad place to start when you have Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor, a solid offensive line. We'll get into the AVT and John Simpson aspect of it in a moment. But then you have Breece, you get Braylon Allen back. Isaiah Davis is a decent third down back. Like if you actually had competent quarterback play, they're not bereft of talent on that side of the ball.
It's probably the best supporting cast Breece will have gone into a season with. Because if you think about it, he's produced while having a lot of like mess around. And we don't know who the quarterback is. Obviously, that'll be a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, that's a great baseline. If he doesn't want to sign a long-term deal, okay, if it's the transition tag, it's $11 million for 1 year. And then next year you let him walk. But for this year, as this coaching staff is trying to succeed, I think bringing him back is the best move because there are interesting running backs in free agency, but I don't know that, like, are you really just going to let Breece walk and then sign Travis Etienne, who's like a slightly worse version of Breece? Or are you going to like go in the middle of the market and get like a Rashad White or a Rico Dowdle, like guys like that? Like, Breece is more dynamic than those guys ultimately.
It's only a 1 year commitment if you use the tag.
1 year commitment. So, and I don't think Breece is a star or anything like that. I think he's just a solid running back. And Frank Reich has done a pretty good job with running backs who can catch the ball too, which I know Jets fans have been dying for an OC who just gets him involved in the passing game. And I think Reich will do that. So.
Do you think Frank Reich will admit week 7, week 8, hey, I didn't realize Breece could really catch passes out of the backfield?
How the hell does Hackett have a job again?
What's crazy is under LaFleur, like it always somehow relates to the Jets.
The LaFleurs are friends with him, so I think that's why.
But it's just wild that Hackett replaces Mike LaFleur with the Jets, now LaFleur as a head coach is hiring Hackett.
Not only that, but LaFleur's quote about it was like, there was nobody else I wanted. I'm like,
what?
You should have like wanted a few
There's got
options. Like
anyone, please, high school coach.
My God, I just can't. Like the year and a half I had to cover him as a play caller, like I'll never forget. Like there's nobody like that.
Everyone says he's a nice guy. Was he like rude to you guys behind the scenes at all?
We didn't talk to him about it. I wouldn't say he was rude. It was just the thing that like annoyed everybody, including fans. But they would be in the middle of having like the worst offense in the NFL, and he's coming to the press conferences, being like, "Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving! Like, how's your day going? Great weather outside." We're like, "What?" So like it was just like the way he would talk so much and say nothing. Like there was one quote he had. Somebody brought up like a bad stat about the passing game or something, and he's like, "Oh, there's there's good stats and some stats that are really good. Like it makes
I
your
remember
offense
that
look good, and
quote.
there's bad stats, and those are bad stats. But like, there's a lot of like good teams and bad teams in the NFL, and there's just stats. It was like something like I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. Like if there are multiple reporters, like I don't know if I can do this anymore, man.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mentioned the guard situation. Muji, when Brees, it was we're bringing him back. Said we're gonna use the tag. When I asked about the guards, we're still kind of evaluating all that, which could be code for, both are gone or one's gone, and you don't want to tip your hand one way or another. Who's more likely to be back in your opinion? What is the latest?
I've always leaned towards AVT, and maybe that's more of a personal thing because I personally think he would be the one to bring back, and I know there's risk attached to that. I just think the ceiling of your O-line's higher with him than with John Simpson. They really like John in terms of he's a really good veteran. He fits what they want. He has the toughness that you need on this team. They don't have enough guys like him who are just going to like fight till the end of the whistle and things like that. But I don't know. I don't think they've made a decision there, and it partially depends. Like I think John Simpson, feel pretty confident would want to come back. I don't know that I'm 100% sure AVT's like, I would definitely want to go back to the Jets. I would say so. That's going to be an interesting thing that plays out of these next couple weeks.
And if they tag Brees, you can't use the tag on
exactly. So
AVT or Simpson.
And I don't know that you would want to pay either of them that much on a tag anyway. And AVT, if he hit the market, like he's a fascinating free agent to me.
I've had a couple people come up to me already this week being like, what's the deal with AVT?
Like you could convince me that he either is going to get like a small prove it deal, or you can convince me somebody's going to be like, good offensive line, we don't hit free agency, so we're going to overpay him and hope that he just is healthy. So like I could see all of this playing out, and if the latter is the case, the Jets probably wouldn't bring it back because you're not going to pay AVT $15 million a year knowing what you know about his injury history. But if you can get him on a 1-year deal for however much money with incentives and all that stuff, I think that is the best case scenario.
Is Tippmann locked in at guard, or is there a path for him to go back to center potentially?
I wouldn't say locked in, but I feel pretty confident because I thought he played pretty well at guard. He's eligible for a contract. I think he wants to resign. I don't know if the Jets have broached that just yet, but I think the goal ultimately should always just be get the best 5 out there. And so if that means you bring back AVT and Simpson, or that means you bring back one of them and you draft that Penn State guard, and then you just make Josh Myers, I don't think is good enough you should be like, he's 100% locked in. So,
well, what about Linderbaum? Because it sounds like there's a chance he actually could hit the open market. Would they be interested in just saying, hey, jet tax or not, we sign him, we're going to have the best offensive line in the league, no matter who our quarterback is this year or the rookie in 27? Like, they're set up if they were to be that bold with that type of move.
I do like the idea of going after him. I don't see it, though. There's all these Ravens coaches around the league now that are going to really pursue him, and so the Jets would have to pay extra just to convince him to come to them. And I don't think he's going to leave Baltimore. Maybe I'm wrong, but so I don't see that necessarily, but there are some interesting offensive linemen. There's some interesting guards, and the 16th pick is such like a wide open thing for this Jets team because they
even pick 2 is this wide open.
Two is wide open, but there's at 16. Like I mean, they need every position on their roster basically besides offensive tackle. You could say, I guess. And I think fans probably wouldn't be happy if it was like a corner at that pick, but like you can make a case for pretty much any position besides tackle. So. I don't know. Yeah, so that's why I'm excited about free agency because last year they're signing guys who, frankly, at the time I didn't even know who Brandon Stevens was at the time, to be honest, because I didn't watch a lot of Ravens football. I'm excited for an old school Jets offseason where we're the offseason champions as always. Yeah, that's good for content.
That and I mean the draft is insane. I want to get your thoughts on that before we wrap up, Zach. At 2, Muji was asked the question. I forget which reporter asked him it. About positional value, like is too high to essentially take a safety, right? And Caleb Downs, could they actually take a safety as high as number 2 in the draft?
It's a really good question, and he's like such an interesting prospect because he's like so like I saw Dane Brugler said he's like the best. He talked to many people in the league, or like he's the best safety prospect like I've ever evaluated, or over the last decade, or whatever it is. So I would not rule it out. I'd be surprised if it was a safety ultimately, but yeah, I would not rule it out. And I think Glenn would be okay with drafting down second, and he does have a lot of sway. My question is Muji, who I know he said that, but I think Muji is really knowledgeable and smart when it comes to value and positional value, and I'm just making the logical thing. So I still lean towards Arvell Reese as we like sit here right now, I would say. But Downs is like on my radar, and he might even be rising in my like potential number 2 pick rankings.
Do you think Muji has more power than people realize after everything that went down in Glenn's first year with Muji? It feels like the approval rating for Muji is certainly way higher amongst the fans with him than Glenn. And even just talking to people the Senior Bowl, Radio Row at the Super Bowl here. It's like, well, you guys have a GM. Like, it just feels like the reputation of Muji around the league is significantly better than what the reputation of Glenn is.
I was talking to a couple people about this in Indy. It's kind of funny. He's kind of in like a perfect spot because Glenn does make the final decisions on everything. Like, people kind of forget that, I think, sometimes. But so Glenn gets blamed for the things that don't work, and then Muji seems to get credit for the things that do work. And he deserves credit. Like, he found Juwan Briggs. He did the Phillips trade. He made those trades with Sauce and Quinnen and all that stuff.
And he extracted like the maximum value in those deals. Like, it's one thing just to trade him, but no one thought Quinnen was going to be a second and a one, or Sauce would be 2 1s and AD Mitchell.
The Quinnen one, the value on the Quinnen deal also, I just like did not expect that. So I'd say early on he's like shown his ability to find value and work between the margins, but I don't think the power dynamic has really shifted just yet. I think Aaron Glenn makes the final decisions. I think Darren Muji and him, it seems like they have a pretty good relationship, and I think they communicate quite a bit. And he went out of his way to say Muji was involved in the coaching search too. So,
and you mentioned Rick Spielman as well.
Spielman, which I did think that was interesting that he was involved. I guess he has the connections and stuff like that, so that part makes sense. But yeah, like, has it like changed? Like, has it like shifted in another direction? I don't think so, but I think we'll kind of see how it plays out based on what they do this offseason. Because I think it's pretty well known the kind of players Aaron Glenn likes, and if they go away from the kind of guys he likes, and it's more, guys that Muji likes, then maybe that'll be something to keep an eye on.
I just wonder if this team doesn't win a ton of games, but there's some promise with some of the draft picks or some of the free agent moves. Like, is there the scenario where Muji actually could stick around and be a part of the next coaching search if it doesn't work out with Glenn?
Yeah, I think you see that all the time in the NFL. The GMs, for whatever reason, wind up, because they're not the ones coaching down on the field, they wind up being safe from the dysfunction and all that
Even
stuff.
Joe Shane survived the Giants mess.
And Brandon Beane. So it happens all the time. So yeah, like that scenario, I think if it's a disaster this season, I could still see Muji surviving.
Which is, to me, not the worst thing in the world if he proved that he was adequate again with all these picks.
That's why it's such an interesting spot they're in, because like it'd be kind of like the Giants last year in a way, because the Giants had a terrible season, but they also, like, we have this quarterback and we have this young talent, and so it became an appealing job for the next guy while keeping the GM and stuff like that. So, I mean, you don't necessarily want to go down that path where you have a terrible season, but there will be an appeal to this job, I think.
3-1s, path to get a quarterback.
Yep.
If the guy I think is the name to watch is if Minnesota can't figure it out and Kevin O'Connell's available, Muji and O'Connell were college roommates.
Yeah, and they're still friends to this day. So,
and O'Connell, if you want the former Jet tie-in, ownership still loves them to this day.
If it got to that, the Viking situation's weird now because he basically, it seems like, had a role in the GM getting fired. So if it goes poorly for Minnesota, I think he's very well liked in the Jets building too, KOC, and he has spoken positively publicly about his time with the Jets. And I know there was like the whole thing when Harrison Phillips got traded, KOC like called him and was like, you're gonna really love it there, kind of thing. So that would be interesting. I don't think he's gonna ultimately get fired, but he's gonna be the one that all Jets fans have at the tip of their tongue for sure.
By the way, speaking of Harrison Phillips, I could see why he won the Media Good Guy Award. I mean, that was one of the more impressive athlete interviews I've done in my career at the Super Bowl a few weeks ago.
I really appreciate you can ask him anything and he'll give you like a real thoughtful answer. Like I think in London, it was only a couple of us in London. It was like me, Kaz, and like one other reporter. And I requested Harrison one-on-one because it was my first chance to like sit down with him. And he had just been doing like all these radio interviews. He seemed like he was all like, he was getting tired of getting asked all these silly questions by this like radio show. And then I sat down with him and he was like amazing. Like, and I asked him all these questions and he gave me some great anecdotes about, like, it was before Quinnen got traded actually, about Quinnen. And so, yeah, I appreciate having him here. And I'm actually curious to see if they adjust his contract at all, because he's $7.5 million non-guaranteed 1-year deal this year. So I could see a scenario where maybe you give him a 2-year deal and spread it out a little more or something like that.
Save some cap and probably a goodwill gesture to the player.
Yeah.
How about this? Zach Rosenblat is the man, says Derek the Jet fan.
Yeah, thanks, Derek.
There you go. Derek the Jet fan also gifting a channel membership. Derek will put you in our raffle this week. Give him a Woody hug.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Let me get you out of here with some fun ones. What has been the coolest part of being, a content creator in some aspects of your job, of being on the beat, covering this crazy franchise since you've been in? I think this is your 5th season.
This will be my 5th season, which is crazy.
What's the craziest memory, or what has been something that you could share about like your experience being around Jet fans and making your living covering this team?
I mean, I'll never forget when I first joined the beat, I knew how crazy Jets fans were because, like, within somebody publishing my, like, I'm the Jets beat writer for the Athletic column that we all do. There were people replying to it with like old tweets of me just like making fun of the Jets. Like, nothing crazy, just like, oh, you could be. I don't know how they lose all the time or something. And fans are like, oh, we got another one who hates the Jets. And so I was like, all right, so this is kind of energy we're going to be carrying. And it's never a dull moment. I think it's way crazy. I came into it with a lot of friends on this beat. And guys who had covered the team in the past, like just saying how weird it gets here and everything that happens, but you don't appreciate it until you're here and it's just nonstop. And like I say all the time, like things happen with this team that, nobody's ever done before and not in a good way. And so that part it keeps me on my toes. Nobody ever believes me when I say this or when we say this. I want them to win. I would much rather be writing like the type of profiles and things that I like doing than the things I kind of have to write, which is about their dysfunction and everything going on behind the scenes and all that stuff. So, but I've enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this fan base, even when they're particularly angry and mean to me. But yeah, it's fun. And I don't know. I want them to win for the fans, for me, for everybody.
It's just funny because I get that too. Oh, you're so negative. Negativity sells, and it's like you have no idea. Like my bottom line is impacted every time they lose. Like people cancel their Patreon.
Positivity sells when the team's winning. Things sell more.
It's like I have plateaued at my subscriber mark for a while. It's just like it's tough to get growth because the only people that are watching your stuff and listening to your podcast that you do with Tim is diehards. It's like if you want to get like the casual fan to be back in, like a 9-8 season once every 15 years would help.
Just think about when they were 5-2 or 6-3 in 2022. And they still had a lot of problems. By the way, that was a crazy season. But they're 6-3. Like fans were like loving that. It was all the young guys. Like all of our content was doing great.
When they beat the Bears, they were 7-4 with Mike White.
And there was the Mike White stuff, which was like fun. And like we haven't really had that since. Like we had the excitement of Rodgers going into week 1 of 23.
And we will have the 9 days in between the win over the Patriots on Thursday Night Football and the home opener. 2-1, the 9 days before the Denver debacle. That was the best 9 days I have felt as a Jet fan.
It was just classic because Rodgers had that coach. He's like, we just have to learn how to handle success. Yes. And then they won like 2 more games the rest of the year. So.
Delray Duck says, Zach is a great guest interview. He is honest and realistic. Really great. See, thanks, people always like talk about, the beat, they're the worst. Yeah. They come on this show and we make you guys well-liked. We turn you guys around.
I wish people would I mean, we do have a nice listener base with my pod and the one I do with Connor, but Twitter and even my articles to a degree, I think it's hard for people to really understand who we are as people and our personalities and stuff.
You know what I think it is? Text is tough to interpret, the tone, especially on social media.
I am a pretty sarcastic person sometimes, which I think fans don't appreciate when they're angry. So.
Yeah, I've been a fan of yours, and I believe your wife is a Syosset High School alum, so we have that connection.
Long Island. I made the mistake of
I meant to text you. You said in Long Island.
I know.
I was like, that's not good.
Somebody immediately replied, and I'm like, crap, she's going to kill me.
I love it. Zach, appreciate it. And plug the podcast you do with Connor and then the stuff you're doing with Badlands as well.
Yeah, so for Badlands, we have Flight Plan. Me and Tim McMaster and actually Paul Kilgallen just joined in to be a part of our show. We're going to be recording tomorrow. I'm doing Jets Final Drive with Connor. We go once a week. We're going, when I get out of here, I'm going back to my hotel room to get that done. So if you guys don't subscribe to those, please do.
Check it out. Zach, I'll see you this week. Appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Quick break. He's Zach Rosenblat from The Athletic. My name is Jake Asman. We're going to get to your calls. I see a bunch of you already on hold. We're talking Glenn and Muji press conference here at the Combine. Back with all that and much more right after this.
I don't know who came up with this idea, but it's a stroke of genius.
And I'm excited to say 2025 Asmaniac Madness starts right now.
Who's gonna be the best of the bunch? Asmaniac Madness. You get to pick the ones that make the show rock.
Voting is officially underway. This tournament is going to be special, folks. Are you kidding me? 3, 2, 1. Wow! It came down to a vote.
One vote?
It literally was decided over one vote.
It is what it is. We do the best, and it's out of our hands.
I'll put myself up to anybody in support of the Jake Asman show, Jake. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I'm ready to compete.
I think I'm going to wipe the floor with you. So
51-49. Briga has retaken the lead. Beastbreaker is in danger of going down in the opening round. Beastbreaker and Dave Brigga lived up to the billing. And the winner with an upset special, moving on, is the 15th seed, Dave Brigga, with the upset of the first round.
Full screen. I haven't done this for a while. How do I look? Do I look slimmer? I'm a glad dinner, huh?
Of all the dramatic things I've ever seen, this is what we needed.
I might have a couple of tricks up my sleeve. I ordered my wife a Jake Asman bikini that she might display. Listen, I'm gonna have to pull out some stops.
I'm on YouTube. Mom, meatloaf.
Now, I'm appealing to all the Asmaniacs. If they want Sarah to keep her job here, then they know who to vote for.
And when are you gonna sit up straight and stop laying in the bed like a sassy assassin?
I got woken up very early today. The police were here. They were looking for this guy, Alan Avital. He's been missing. He's been ducking me. Call in or concede.
Need that damn chicken soup, Charles. Tell Mama Gorman I love her and I need it, Charles. Get your shit.
It's all gonna be respectful, but Dave, I'm coming for your fucking ass, bro.
If you don't beat me, a retired guy, I don't know what to tell you. So
does that mean it's Johnny Depp?
No, that's you and your parrot, man. Repeats everything you say.
He better watch his mouth with the insults.
You're a fucking asshole, too, so...
Fuck you, asshole!
Now, I want to remind people, though, this tournament is all in good fun. No one's winning millions of dollars here, and if you lose your matchup, it doesn't make you less of a listener of the show. Here's an example of what I don't want Asmaniac Madness to become. What happened yesterday between these two morons.
He's more likable than you, you fucking old yourself, you piece of shit. Yourself, you.
Well, that escalated quickly. Jesus, come on, gentlemen. That is not what this tournament should be.
Jake Asman Show, Asmaniac. Everybody on the show is awesome. Win, lose, or draw.
Charles, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm just working my ass right now.
Okay, that's fine.
He definitely was wiping his ass.
It's possible.
He definitely looks like he was in the John. What he was doing there was nobody's business. He could have been looking at the porn.
You were wiping your ass with toilet paper, yes or no?
Yeah, I was wiping my ass.
There it is. See, I knew it. Now we're silent dancing here, baby. Imagine to the podcast listeners right now being like, what's happening? No one's talking.
I kind of want to just show y'all my Bonesy burger, how I'm going to chew them up. Y'all know, man, it's competition. Don't take nothing personal. This is what we doing, man. But I play with fire, man.
Hey.
You got Bones right here. Roasting, right? Bones, man, I'm looking for you.
I love it. You're like, give me the chance to take down Bonesy. I like that approach. Nice.
Let's go. Bone marrow. I got your bones.
That man says, vote for PBM.
I voted for you, Mike. You could stop with the Ben Affleck bullshit.
Charles, I love you, man.
And moving on to the Sweet 16 is, in fact, the number 4 seed, the big fella.
Yo.
Yeah. In the flesh, man.
Got off the bed.
He got off the bed.
He put on his shoes to come to the shoe store. Big fella's bringing the heat, man. He's coming into the shoe store to get his rep going. Charles, I'm coming for that ass, boy. Charles, this is gonna be big shoes to fill, bro.
So, am I winning this thing so far?
That fella, how we feeling?
This vermin named the Flatulator is going to be extinguished, and I'm going to send his stinky ass back to Arkham.
I'm impressed that Big Fella's able to fit into that bat suit. He is one big son bitch.
You will not sweet talk. You will not sweet talk.
I took martial arts lessons. I knew how to punch.
Hell yeah, Charles. And the winner is the big fella, 50-49. A 1 seat goes down.
You're watching the show. You're a Jet fan like me. Where was Bobby when Dennis Bird went down? Where was he with the big spike? Where was he with Kotite? And where was he when Vinny got hurt? I bleed green, baby. Vote for Jay Quest. Vote the Jet fan, baby.
For the second time in this tournament, a number 1 seed has fallen. Jay Quest stunned Bobby Midnight.
Congratulations to Jay Quest. He's my boy. I still love him.
YouTube, vote Nate, Jake Asman Show. You guys got YouTube? Check out the Jake Asman Show and vote Nate. I'm in a tight race. It's like Asman, but minus 1 S, so Asman. And if you could vote Nate, I'm in a tight race with this communist, a really evil guy. I'm in a really close race, and I could use your vote. What's up, Papi? I'm in a close race. I could use your vote.
I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm getting on the bike. In the rain. Oh, shit. Getting too old for this
Last time
shit.
you rode a bike.
People looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm caught in the downpour. I'm going from condo to condo.
I'm hanging a vote for Nate signs. Peter Castro was a great candidate to run against.
I'll tell you what, Nate earned my respect. Nate is a classy guy.
But it is the OG, Peter Castro. Shows you about the quality of callers we have on the show. Wow. But someone's going to win.
I mean,
now, let me ask you this. Were you aware that you were in the Elite Eight?
I got beat, though, fortunately. Now, who am I going to be in the third round then?
Well, there is no third round, Lane. It's over. You're done. You've been eliminated. Our final four is officially set, baby. King Lowski, Neil, Gary, Mr. Bonesy. So the final four is set. Showdown, baby. Lowski versus Neil. Gary versus Bonesy. What a final four. Congrats to the four of them. Oh, baby. What a final four it was, huh? Well, that's a little recap of last year's tournament. The full video is available as a members-only video on my YouTube channel. Asmaniac Madness is fast approaching, folks. Get ready because it is happening Selection Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, this Sunday, March 1st. Hit it. Get ready. I got to switch the cameras to the solo shot, but we do have another great guest that's going to be joining me in a couple of minutes. We're going to be joined by Jordan Reed, excellent draft analyst for ESPN. So we'll take that interview live on the show for those of you who are locked in. I also would love to do a giveaway on the show. All right. We didn't do one on the first show because we were live right before Glenn and Muji spoke. End of the show today for anyone who enters. Let's give away a Jets jersey of your choosing. Joe Namath, Joe Klecko, Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett, Darrell Rivas, Nick Mangold, and Keyshawn Johnson. If we get, let's say, at least 20 total gifted memberships during the show, we'll do it. So we got one so far. So Derek, the Jet fan, is in the Asmaniac raffle for one at this point. If we get 20 entries, we'll spin the wheel at the end of the show. Want to get to your calls. Obviously, we've recapped the presser so far. Curious how Jet fans feel after hearing from the head coach. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to right now some of your outstanding calls, because joining us on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a man who was in the Final Four a year ago. It's Neil. Why won't the intro play? Play it.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's probably smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's Neil.
Jake, my brother, how are you?
Hello, Neil.
How's it going down there?
So far, so good. Certainly today was a big one with them speaking, so we'll have some content to react to off of that for the rest of the week, and let the fun begin. Today's truly the first day of everything.
I have one question for Aaron Glenn. If play calling was his superpower, then why the hell would he not call plays after he fired Wilkes and let that other idiot do it? That's my question.
I think at that point it was, let's just get through the year, and you were in cover your ass mode, if we're being honest. A little CYA going on there.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, I would have liked to have seen what Aaron Glenn would have done with this defense if he played calls the last part of the year. It could, it had to be a lot better than what it ended up with. Wouldn't you think?
Well, what if part of the thought process was we're tanking at this point, the season's cooked?
Okay, yeah, maybe his play calling would have allowed us to lose by less than 21 points every game.
It's hard to imagine the defense being worse, but yeah.
I mean, look, it's at this point, we all know that the more logical thing, and obviously he was doing to cover his ass with regard to Woody, but we all know that Woody put the denied stamp on hiring Wink Martindale because he wanted, why would he spend $5 or $6 million a year on Wink Martindale if he already had Aaron Glenn as a defensive guy to call the plays, right?
Again, however we got to this point,
It was convoluted, but I think Glenn calling the plays, look, it's his superpower.
Play call is my superpower, really.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we have to go with.
All right. I mean, look, you know, a lot of it's going to a lot of what we do this year is going to have to do with how well we do on the draft, what we do with free agents, and who we pick as quarterback. I mean, let's be real. I mean, at the end of the day, the best case scenario, I'm not going to say what the best case scenario is because it's all conjecture. But if we get a good quarterback, right, we know what we need. We need 2 established quarterbacks that we pick up, right, Jake? We need a Cousins, somebody less than Cousins, and the rookie. We need Brissett, another guy, and a rookie. Once we get that quarterback established, now we have to get what? A wide receiver too, right, Jake?
Yes.
That wide receiver too.
Figure out the guard, the whole defense, 100%. Neil, do me a favor. I have a live guest that has arrived. So,
all right, go ahead. Go take the guest.
Let me do this. All right. Let me play you out the only way that we know how.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
The great Jordan Reed from ESPN is set to join us momentarily. We're going to go to a short break. Back in 60 seconds with Jordan. If you have draft questions, Jordan is as knowledgeable and plugged in as anyone will bring on the show all week long. So submit those, and we'll come right back with them. Back with more right after these words.
Don't let anyone say that it's just a game. For I've seen other teams play, and it's never the same. When you root for the Jets, you're sick in the head. And when the Jets win, I may be long dead. Our hero is Ed, and he wears jet green. This is the worst team that I've ever seen. Despite all the losses, the ups and the downs, the coaches, they come and they go. Keeping traditions and wishes made new. The place where our grandfathers and fathers grew. The spiritual feeling if I ever knew. And if you don't watch Jake, I feel sorry for you. And when the day comes with that final Super Bowl run, and I'm drunk and I'm covered in beer, I'll look to the sky and I know I was right to say, someday we'll go all the way. Yeah, someday we'll go all the way. Let's go.
As far as the famous Storms go, I would rank Storm Duck as number 3. Jason Allen Storm is number 2.
Do I look like a duck to you? Go fuck yourself.
You have no self-control, or you don't have the intelligence to execute the plan. He's got 4 chins. He doesn't have a shirt that fits him. He's built like a snowman.
You can't win!
Give me my Lambo keys. Get the hell out of my house. I can't win? You got this $1 million mansion in the Philly suburb. Get the hell out of my house.
Why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does.
I can beat somebody. Look at the car you're driving. Look at the house you're living in. Me, that's me. I did that. My blood, sweat, and tears. Me.
Don't do this.
Like, you don't get to be down for the victory ride if you're not down for the climb. Like, get the hell out. You married a fighter. I will protect you.
Yes, you can.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.
Back inside the Indiana Convention Center, and we're joined right now by ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed. And Jordan, we got to start with this. I just got through 20-something weeks of working on Sunday with Mike Tannenbaum. You do the draft with the man every year on ESPN radio. I should have called you before the year for some advice how to deal with Mike T.
You should have, man. Mike T is one of my favorite guys in the industry just because he's one of the guys that can go from telling a story about Brett Favre to telling you everything from the background about these prospects in this draft. That GM hat just never comes off with him.
Oh, yeah. He's got some wild trade proposals he's coming up with. I will say this. Mike was the first that I saw, at least in the mainstream, to be like gung-ho, all in on Fernando Mendoza.
Yes.
Before it was like the cool thing to say, oh, he's clearly QB1. Like, we're talking about early September maybe. Yep. He already started comparing him to Matt Ryan.
Yeah, he's with Fernando, man, he's just so resilient. That's the thing that he showed throughout the season. Just think of all the big moments of adversity he was able to overcome this year. Going into Oregon and winning early on in the season, taking big hit after big hit against Iowa, going in and winning against that tough defense in bad weather, albeit. And then also the last drive against Penn State, the fourth quarter win on that one. And then the big hit against Ohio State, the very first play of the game, he comes back to win that one. And then the big hits that he took against Miami in a national title, he goes on to score the game-winning touchdown.
Called his own number.
Just the moments of resiliency that he has shown, it's just something that has been remarkable about him. And I think he's going to go on to be the eventual number 1 pick for the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Jet fan base hears that and goes, man, what could have been? Same record as the Raiders, strength of schedule, percentage points, the difference between the Jets getting the top pick and Vegas getting the top pick. So kind of a perfect way to segue. At number 2, it feels like this year it's more wide open than I can remember, where there's not an obvious best non-quarterback in this draft. What would you do if you're the Jets?
I go against what a lot of people are saying right now. I know Arvell Reese is like the overwhelming favorite, but the player that I would select would be Ruben Bain out of Miami. And I say that because you have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. I want somebody that's going to come in right away and establish an identity. And if there's one player I know that is going to come in pro-ready right away at a position of need that is going to be a culture changer, I know Ruben Bain is going to be that. All you have to do is listen to Mario Cristobal, the head coach of Miami, talk about him. And there's 2 players that he always singles out when he's talking about the players that changed the program. It's Francis Maui-Noah, who's an offensive tackle in this year's class, is like going to be a top 10 pick, and it's Ruben Bain. And I just think Ruben Bain makes so much sense for the Jets from that point at a position of need. He's going to be a culture changer, and you're trying to change the identity of your team. And I think he's going to be able to do that right away.
When it comes to Bain, I know this will be a topic this week, the arm length.
Yeah.
Does it matter, in your opinion, as someone who evaluates these players? Like, is Ruben Bain's arm length going to be a reason that he potentially has any sort of issue at the next level?
It doesn't for me, just because I've seen him produce in big moments, and he's had that production all throughout the season. And having arm length really doesn't matter to how the way that he does win, if that does make sense. He's a power-based defensive end that can overpower people, but also he can run the hump and win around the edge too. So him being a power-based defensive end, I don't really care as much about the arm length.
If not Bain at 2, talk to me more about Arvell Reese. Right now I'm sponsored by FanDuel. Arvell Reese is the betting favorite to go number 2. It's only minus 115, so it's not crazy. It was a lot more before. But Arvell Reese, if he were to be the pick at 2, is he projected in your mind as an edge? Is he a true outside linebacker? What would exactly be the role for him playing for the Jets if they took him there?
I like him personally as an off-ball linebacker, but if you take somebody at number 2 overall, you're expecting them to play defensive end just because you're going to get more value at that position. And there's flashes of him potentially being successful at that position, but right now he's just really raw at that position. So you're betting on the projection of him eventually translating to bring back that value of being a premier player. But at number 2 overall, you're playing with a very hot stove as far as him projecting him to be that potential premier player at edge rusher.
Is he a guy that, does he remind you of like Micah Parsons? I've heard some comp him to that. Like what would his role be initially on an Aaron Glenn type of defense? A lot of people think the Jets will switch to like a 3-4. So is he a guy that you could see lining up a lot at the outside linebacker spot?
Yeah, I think he compares very favorably to Micah. I don't think he's as polished as what Micah was coming out specifically as a pass rusher. I think Micah had a little bit more juice. And then also with his hands, he just had a little bit more maturity, and his repertoire was a little bit more diverse than what Arvell's is right now.
How about David Bailey, another popular name that Jet fans have seen mocked to their team at 2? Your thoughts on the Texas Tech defensive end as a possible option?
A fantastic pass rusher. I think he can be a 12 to 14 sack type of player right away, walking through the door. One of the better pure pass rushers in this class. He has elite explosiveness, getting up the field right away. The bend is above average, but also the hand usage, I think that is very far along in his development. So another player, of course, that is a contender at number 2 overall.
All right. Got to ask you about the safety debate.
Yeah.
Is number 2 in the draft too high to take a player like Caleb Downs, who your coworker, the great Mel Kiper, in his latest mock, he did mock Downs at number 2 to the Jets. So that's been a big topic on my show today. Your thoughts, Jordan?
Mel always loves to throw curveballs, right? I don't think it's too high at all. And I say that just because in this class, there's 2 players who I think are the best in the class. Downs is one, and Jeremiah Love. Obviously, they're not going to take Jeremiah Love because they have Breece Hall, but you can throw positional value out the window in this year's class just because of the lack of blue chip talent. And at the end of the day, if I'm Darren Muji, the one area where I'm going to be graded on is if I hit on this pick or if I miss on this pick. Nobody's going to really care about positional value when it comes to a second contract or anything like that. If Caleb Downs goes on to be a all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber of player, nobody's going to care where you selected them at. The same thing happened now, not to this degree as far as inside the top 5, but if you remember the Jahmyr Gibbs debate, everybody was like, you don't take a running back that high. The same happened with Bijan Robinson. You don't take a running back that high, but both of those guys have gone on to be Pro Bowl caliber of players, and nobody really cares where they went now.
If they take Downs at 2, like how special can he be right away? Like, is he at the level of what Kyle Hamilton is? Because, you know, I've been using this example after one of my callers made this point. I think it's spot on. A couple of years ago, the Giants, they took Kayvon Thibodeau 5th overall. Well, same draft, Kyle Hamilton goes pick 14. Who would you rather have now, right? It's a no-brainer. You rather Hamilton. Like, how does Downs compare to that level of player? Because it almost feels like, whether it's fair or not, if you take a safety 2nd overall, he better be one of the best in the league almost right away.
Without question. And I think he definitely has the potential to do that. But with him, he's not the caliber of athlete that we've seen at the top of the draft, the safeties that go early, top 15, like a Kyle Hamilton or a Derwin James or, Eric Berry is another comparison that people are using. He's not the caliber of athlete as those players. But the thing that I think puts him into that tier is the smarts that he plays with, the leadership that he brings to the table, how sure of a tackler he is, and then just how many different ways that you can use him. And I think the biggest thing that I love about him is that he played in a Matt Patricia defense, which is very complex, and he was able to master it. They used him as that middle hole, middle rat type of player, which I think what he has to do on the next level. The player that I compare him to is Budda Baker. I think he is a mirror image of Budda Baker, who's went on to be a multi-time All-Pro player. If you get a multi-time All-Pro player at number 2 overall, I think Jets fans will be very happy about that.
Yeah, that's certainly exciting. How about the decision at 16? Because it feels like a lot of Jet fans would love to see Mekhi Lemon or one of the receivers, Carnell Tate, someone make it to that spot. 1, do any of the quote-unquote top 3 make it to 16? And 2, if not a receiver, what are some of the other options potentially there for the Jets?
I think D-tackle could be another option as well. They need that big guy in the middle, whether it's a Peter Woods out of Clemson, Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech, or even Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, who's somebody I've been mocking very frequently to the Jets at number 16 overall. They need that big space eater in the middle, which is something they don't have currently on the roster right now. So defensive tackle could be a possibility. Wide receiver could be an option as well. I don't see Lemon making it that far. I think Tyson could be on the board because of the medical situations, but with these picks that the Jets have, I just don't think that's a risk that is worth taking right now, just because with these 5 first-round picks that you have, you want to make sure that they are bona fide hits without any hiccups or question marks in their evaluation.
Speaking of risk, I've seen the Ty Simpson conversation with the Jets a lot. He's been mocked at times by Mel and by Matt Miller and several other top draft people with ESPN. 16 to the Jets. Could you see it? I mean, we know the Jets have the 3-1s in 2027, but would Ty Simpson, would he make sense in that spot for the Jets?
As I just mentioned, I don't think you need to take high-risk prospects like that. And I think Ty Simpson is a very high-risk prospect, and I say that because he's only had 15 college starts.
Right.
And the only guys that have had that limited number of starts to go in round 1, you're in Mitchell Trubisky, Mark Sanchez, Anthony Richardson territory.
The last guy you could say was clearly like a home run was Cam
Newton.
in 2011.
He was the only one in 2 different stratospheres.
Right.
With as far as physical traits with Ty Simpson and Cam Newton. You couldn't draw up 2 quarterbacks that as far as the inverse level of physical traits than those 2. But with Ty, I just think it's too risky, especially at such an important position. You just don't need to take that type of risk right now.
Is there a guy on day 2, they have pick 33, pick 44, at day 2, even some day 3 guys that you think are worth the swing if you're the Jets? Maybe you don't make the big first round swing because you have 2027 for that, but they got to take someone you would think for that room. Is there a guy or 2 out there that you think would make some sense?
Well, I mean, if you're just trying to take somebody that you think could develop into something later on down the road, I think somebody like Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU in the 3rd or the 4th round, I think he's somebody that's worth taking. Carson Beck in that same range as well, even a Drew Aller in the 3rd or 4th round. So if you're looking for what I like to call those lottery tickets that you're hoping that could eventually turn into something, those are 3 that could be in range.
What is we hear every year there's X amount of blue chip players. This year it feels like there's not as many because some of the lack of quarterbacks have to do with that. How many on your personal big board would you consider like blue chip players in this class?
For me, there's only two. It would be Caleb Downs and also Jeremiah Love. Those are your two guys that are bona fide blue chip talents. To me, I think Arville Reese is debatable.
Interesting. And then what's the tier below that? Is it a decent depth type of draft? Like where are the strengths of the draft if you're someone who has all these picks like what the Jets have?
I think there's a lot of depth at receiver. You're going to see those guys fall off the board in the second round. And then safety and corner, I would be surprised if one of those first 4 picks is not a safety for the Jets, especially those 2 picks in the second round. I think that's the real sweet spot of where we can see some of these guys fall off the board, like a A.J. Halsey out of LSU. Zakee Wheatley is another name that I like in that range out of Penn State as well. So I think you're going to see these receivers and safeties fly off of the board.
I get asked this all the time, and people do the mock draft simulators, and they think it's easy to make trades. Jake, the Jets, can they trade out and then take so-and-so? At 2, it doesn't feel like there's an obvious player teams are coming up for. Do you see it the same way? Like, what is a path, if there is one, for the Jets to potentially move out of 2 or maybe even move out of pick 16 as well?
I think it's going to be tough for them to move out of 2 just because who are you trading up for in this year's class? But if I were the Jets, I would be very tempted to move up from 16, especially if somebody starts to fall down the board. So let's say we can get a Ruben Bain at 2. Why not try to move up and get a Caleb Downs, at 9 or 10?
Do you think Downs could actually fall?
It's possible, just because you don't know how teams value safeties. And, I could sit here and say screw positional value in this year's class, but there's some teams that really stick to their principles of not valuing a safety that high, and he ends up, he's still there on the board. And, the Chiefs at 9 may want to move back. The Bengals at 10 may want to move back as well. So I think it would be a home run if they could come out of round 1 with somebody like Ruben Bain or a defensive end at 2 and then get Caleb Downs.
Last question, because as a Jet fan and someone who does a Jet podcast, we're already talking about 2027. We hear it every year, though.
Yeah.
Well, next year's quarterback class is going to be even better. Is next year's quarterback class actually going to live up to the massive amount of hype that we're already hearing about it? And, of course, as Jet fans, we're looking at that with the 3 first-round picks, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, Sayin, all these guys. Of course, Dante Moore going back to school. Just give us your way too early assessment, of course, of the 2027 QB class.
I'm always hesitant to say something is loaded, but 2027, regardless of position, is loaded. Quarterback, man, there's so many guys that could be round 1 picks. You already said Arch, Lenoris.
I'm selling shirts at my merch store. I'm marching for Arch already.
Right. PU for nephew. That's my trademark that I've said as far as the slogan that I'm going to use for him. But even Darian Mensah at Miami, somebody that potentially could climb boards as well. So there's a lot of quarterbacks in next year's class that, are seen as early round talents, but I'm just hoping it holds true, which is something that did not happen this year.
Jordan, continue success, man. Good luck dealing with Mike T on draft night, and looking forward to catching up with you throughout the offseason, man. Good luck.
Thanks as always for having me, Jake.
Jordan Reed from ESPN. We'll take a quick break and continue live from Radio Row. It is the Jake Asman Show here at the NFL Scouting Combine.
It's time for Asmaniac Madness. Who will cut the nets down as the top Asmaniac for 2025? Some of you don't even care, but we do. From a field seeded 1 through 64, this is a tournament unlike any that has ever been put together. Expect the unexpected. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? Did Charles just fart again? Better wake up, Beastbreaker. Not since the moon landing has Gary been more excited. Let's get to it.
In honor of this matchup getting underway, got to pay homage to both of these legendary Asmaniacs. Got my cigar for Neil, my bucket hat for Lowski. Let's freaking go.
To Neil, it's all love, baby, but you gotta get this cigar up your ass today.
Goes a little overboard now when he says to put a cigar up my ass. He must love my ass here, Lowski. Here it is, Lowski. Come put it up my ass right now. Come on now, Lowski. And a little worried about you why you put cigars in people's butts. I don't know if I like that so much. Anybody that's going to be on this show 30 years from now, still rooting for the Jets, that's who I want to see. That's it. Mic drop.
It is time to declare a winner. Ladies and gentlemen, your first look at our champion of the left side of the bracket. Give it up King Lowski moves on to the national championship game.
Yeah! Yeah, God damn it! We going to the ship! I need to win this thing, baby!
We are now down to just 3. King Lowski's already advanced. Gary or Mr. Bonesy will face off against the King in our national championship. Who will face the King? In honor of these two going at it, I have my boxing glove for Gary 3D Boxing and my Alden shoe right here. Here we go. Bonesy versus Gary. First, here is Gary's wife with a message from home.
Gary, thank you for the vacuum cleaner.
A quick word from Mrs. Bonesy.
I'm here to back up some
dad.
Well, voting for him is voting for me. And voting for me is also voting for Morgan, our nanny.
Many have asked about Decker's nanny, Morgan. Here's a message from Morgan and her friends in the same sorority.
I vote Decker and Gary.
Alright. You asked for who we delivered. Now we better get a lot of votes.
I see Gary pulling out all the stops, so I just want to show him what I got going on with my family.
Hi, Lola.
Say hi to everybody.
What the heck?
Give me a Jets chant.
There it is. The man who will advance to the national title game and take on King Lowski tomorrow afternoon is none other than Bonesy, advancing your first look at our national final.
King Lowski, Mr. Bonesy, the Asmaniac Madness Championship.
One Asmaniac will be left standing. We got a great final coming up between 2 OG listeners of the show. So it's going to be a blast to see how it all plays out. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the trophy that we're going to award is named after the late, great Keith Best. Keith would always call in between chemo treatments, was a huge, huge supporter of the show and beloved in the community. So we named the trophy after Keith. The Best of the Best trophy will be awarded today, named after the late, great Keith Best. So RIP, of course, to Keith. We're keeping his memory alive. The bottom line is this: you can't go wrong with either of these two tremendous callers. Only one can win. Only one can cut down the nets and win the first ever Best of the Best trophy. Vote, 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 baby. A championship matchup is underway.
How you feeling, Bones?
These are 2 OGs, man. You know, I'm just going to come at it like I've been for the last 3 years. Just being genuine. This is what it's all about. Honored to be against the King. Lowski with the crown, you know how it is.
Let's do it, baby. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what we all deserve, baby. As maniacs that been here from the start. We've been rocking with Jake since the beginning. It's all a collective. You gotta be a Asmaniac. You gotta be a diehard Jet fan, and you gotta know what this damn team is about. 2 OGs that's really going at it, baby. I love every minute of it. Let's go.
To the fact that it is 51-49, 50-50 right now. Teetering.
Crazy.
Unreal. I just want to thank both of you. You're both the winners in my book. And, man, thanks for making this so much fun for everyone.
We want to thank you, Jay. We want to thank you, man, because
for sure
you're doing this. Gator's a big part of this. You know, the committee, I mean, the people voting, all of us involved. Love from us, from everybody, man. We love you guys. It's family. It's family. It's family.
We are nearing the home stretch. And as I look at the scoreboard right now, it is truly any Asmaniacs game. Bonesy or Lowski, it's 51-49. 3, 2, 1, 6:30. Poll is closed. 883 votes. When I hit close, officially, Mr. Bonesy is your champion of Asmaniac Madness.
At the end of the day, Asmaniac, I thank you, man. I thank you for all of the love. I appreciate it. Shout out to Mr. Bonesy, baby. Make that speech epic at the party, baby.
Bonesy!
Let's go. Let's go, fellas. I want to shout out King for a great battle. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. The love that I'm feeling, man, it's great. And we're a big family. You guys know I'm one of the biggest Chef fans out here. You guys know how I rap, how I roll. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Jake. Let's do this. Let's go.
Baby.
Let's go.
Mr. Bonesy, give it up to the Bones Man. He is your champion.
JTF!
Yeah! What a tournament. What a tournament. What a final. Thank you to everyone who participated. Congrats to everyone in the tournament. We started with 64. There were so many good people. We couldn't even get everyone in if we tried. The only requirement was you had to have called the show at least once in the last 3 months. And we had over 100 people to wheedle down to 64. Congrats to everyone who won a round, won 2 rounds, won 3 rounds, made it to the final 4. All love, Asmaniacs. Thank you to everyone who makes this show what it is.
The tournament is coming. Asmaniac Madness is upon us. That's right. Selection Sunday, this Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, Mr. Bonesy is still making his speech from the draft night party. It hasn't ended yet from last year. Unbelievable. Shout out to Jay Quest for a great callback joke. All right. I'm staying around, getting to your calls. I want to remind people we'll do a jersey raffle at the end of the show. Big thank you to everyone for hanging out. I know we are kind of in flux with the programming here. We've done some interviews live. I've been taping ones all day, but we're giving you as much content as possible. Good question from Jay Quest. He says, Jay, can you get any players? Are they available to you? The players don't do any one-on-ones, unfortunately. They will speak in the press conference setting starting tomorrow. So today you got, all the coaches and GMs for the most part spoke today. There's a couple leftovers that we'll talk tomorrow, a couple coaches that haven't spoken. It was fascinating, by the way. One podium, Aaron Glenn. Next podium, John Harbaugh. Other podium, Robert Saleh, all at the same time. So pretty interesting, but you get a little feel for the convention center now. Starting to die down a little bit today, but big things happening. We got the great Mia O'Brien here. I'm not charging her any rent for using my table. Not at all. I'm a very nice guy. Over here, things are happening. The Dolphins, I did something nice for our AFC East rival. So the Miami Dolphins, they have Jordan Reed on their in-house media show right now. My backdrop was affecting their shot. So I said, I'll take it down for your guys' interview. No problem. So that's why there's nothing behind me, but you can see Jordan right behind me there doing an interview for the Miami media folks. Great super chat from Del Rey, who says Jordan Reed is super awesome. What great information. He's so wise. He's excellent. Again, I think ESPN has an unbelievable collection of draft analysts. Obviously, Kuiper's the OG, but I think Field Yates is tremendous. I think Jordan's awesome. Matt Miller, who will join me if I'm still live at 5:45, which is unlikely, he'll join me then. If not, I will tape that to run on the show either tomorrow or the following day. I'm just stockpiling a bunch of great interviews for you guys to enjoy, whether you're watching live or after the fact. So I certainly appreciate everyone who's tuned in. We had Nick Faria on the first show. Zach Rosenblat joined us earlier today. So you're going to have content galore. Make sure you're checking the channel constantly. Do me a favor and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. We hit over 44K earlier in the week, and the goal is to get to 50K by week 1 of the season. We're at 44,053 right now. I think it's doable because we got the best fans in sports to make it happen. Bino with a super chat. Glenn's presser was a pile of shit. Wink was not okay with Glenn calling plays, and everyone knows he wasn't. Hashtag hold on to AG's BS. Again, Glenn always goes out of his way to defend Woody. That's smart when that's the guy that signs your checks. Whether it was Glenn's idea or not, Glenn saying ultimately that he wanted to call the plays and play calling is his superpower, he put it on him. And now let's see if he could fix the defense because there's no one to blame but him.
Play calling is my superpower, really.
He also gave us a phenomenal new drop, which will be played a lot on the show.
Play calling is my superpower, really.
If you call in today, you got to tell me what your superpower is. For Glenn, it's play calling. What is your superpower? Those are the questions. Now I need some answers. Ladies and gentlemen, up next on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a man who is an actual superhero. He could fly.
I want to make sure we protect the prize that B-Man won. Look at this thing. And he's wearing the Brits jersey. You kidding me? Come on, B-Man. Help him out a little bit. Best we can do with B-Man.
Captain Puerto Rico, away.
Hello, V-Man.
What's up?
How are you?
Good, I'm going to ask you a question.
WBC is coming up in a few weeks. Are you going to finally be jumping on the bandwagon of the tournament?
I mean, I'll be watching the games, if that means jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh, good. Good.
I watched it in 2023.
Oh, you did? I didn't know you watched in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't locked into like every game. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I watched it. I watched the final, the Ohtani versus Trout showdown.
Oh yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's actually my sister's birthday gift. I got her unfortunately, I got it for her before everything happened, but I got her a Francisco Lindor WBC jersey. So before like the insurance issue popped up.
Well, that's a good present. You're doing a good job there, V man.
Oh yeah. Yesterday was her birthday. She turned 31.
Did you sing happy birthday for her?
Yeah, at her party that she had on Saturday.
Whoa! How much coquito did you put down at that thing?
We didn't have to go to. She went to a bar in Brooklyn, and the Star Bar in Brooklyn.
No, okay. I just thought you travel with it, but okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, it's just I haven't been. I thought I'd call it because I've been like a bit off for a while. I thought I'd get in to see what I'm missing. It's gonna be an interesting off season.
Are you ready for Asmaniac Madness, V-Man?
It'll be fun to see, is anybody going to be able to take down Mr. Bonesy? The first ever. Probably. We'll see. The universe, only the universe knows.
I agree, V-Man. Any jet points you would like to make?
Let's see. No, with Glenn calling the defense, I'm curious to see where this goes, because obviously the defense did get I will sit here and say what he was able to do at the end of the year in was it 2020 in 2024 end of the year when the Lions defense was basically gashed and raw with injuries, still keeping them competitive I think is an impressive feat. Of course, the playoffs. Like what at that point, that was a point where there wasn't much you could do, given just like the injuries and just running into just a red hot Washington Commanders team. But I do think it'll be interesting to see. He's ultimately taking ultimately now the buck stops with him when it comes to the defense. He's taking full responsibility. So. If it works out for him, good. If it doesn't, we'll be here next year talking about the new coach.
Well, I'll tell you what, V-Man. It's either win or shut up. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah, no.
I also will tell you this.
What?
Don't get too drunk as a skunk tonight, all right?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not drinking it. This is like akin to rubbing alcohol.
Well, why don't you have a sip right now for all of us
no,
to see?
I'm not. No. Come on.
Chug.
I'll have a sip, but like this is 151. This smells like rubbing alcohol.
Let's go. Give the people a show. We got 400 people watching this.
God.
Close enough. Thank you.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
All right. More of your outstanding calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. On the Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline is... Hello, Pork.
Hey, Jake, what's up? You're going to have to change that intro, man. I lost a lot of weight.
You look good, Pork. I noticed it in your face right away now that you said something. Wow.
Yeah, I'm down to 188. So that was the last time I weighed myself.
How many pounds have you lost?
Well, since the beginning of the recovery period, about 18 months, I was 240, but I didn't start working out till like this past December. So since then, about 20 pounds. So
you look good, Pork.
Well, thanks. And I think the guy that we should take is Caleb Downs.
Do you think Aaron Glenn's superpower of calling plays will jive well with Caleb Downs?
I don't think it'll matter with Downs. I mean, he can make all the plays. He can make all the tackles on the field. I mean, he's an amazing player. You're not going to miss with him. So,
I think he might be one of the safer picks. It's just a matter of, do you get enough value at 2 to justify it?
I think when you look back at the end of the year next year, you'd say yes, because if he goes down and he falls to one of these good teams, he's going to be really good. But I mean, if he's with us, he's not going to be, standing. He'll stand out for his hits and whatnot. But Glenn sucks as a coach. We know who he is. I mean, there's no, there's no getting around that. We're screwed. So I like Downs. I do like Love, and I like Lemon from USC. So I do like Ruben Bain as well. So there's a lot of guys there that we could pick.
Well, I like the idea of trading up. As Jordan Reed, I don't know if you saw that interview I just had with him. He brought up, hey, if Downs starts to slide from 16, trade up and go and get him. I like that idea, and that applies for Mekhi Lemon, who also he told me he didn't think would be there at 16. I'm okay with that, especially if the Jets grade out these guys and they go, man, there's a huge talent drop-off after we get to this part. And if that's the case, then, okay, I think you got to be aggressive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm excited about it, but I'm not excited about, our coaching. So, I start thinking about the draft and the players and the season, and then I can't get past the head coach.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
It's got to hang in there. We're nuts, Pork. We're crazy.
Yeah, well, hey, guys, have a Jet life to the next life. Have a good one.
Hey, Woody, give him a hug.
I hug him every day.
A slender Pork in the morning doing his thing. How about that? Raffle, Jets jersey. Get on in. I'm going to gift the membership right now in honor of Pork of the morning looking handsome. We're only at 2 channel members during the show here. So I said we need at least 20 to do the raffle. We'll be 17 away. If we don't hit it, have no fear. We'll carry it over into our morning stream tomorrow at the Combine. Ladies and gentlemen, one gifted membership from yours truly has officially been entered. And if you want to know who got it, well, none other than Ryan Koza is the recipient of the membership. Shout out to Ryan. This is for you.
Play call is my superpower, really.
My superpower is gifting memberships to the best community in sports. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your outstanding calls right now. There's a man on the line who I believe is a dark horse contender in Asmaniac Madness. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lump Man.
My name is Lumpy, not Lumpy. I'm not De Niro. Just call me Lumpy. I had a mullet the last time the Jets were winners. Don't call me Lumpy, 'cause I'm friggin' Lumpy.
Yeah, if I get my internet working, right, Jake?
You sound good, Lumpy. There we go.
Finally, here we go. Listen, you took my thunder. I want to challenge every Asmaniac or anybody who calls in. You got to sell you what your superpower is. And I think everybody who has ever heard me or said to me knows what my superpower is. One light. That's it.
You and V-Man. You with the Bud Lights, V-Man with the Coquito.
I'd like to see Gator do this with like spinach or some shit.
I like where your mind's
background. The other thing too, whereas I love the trade up, that we need some dudes and dogs. Like I said before, we definitely need that. You hear about all of these. We hear these press conferences all the time. They're always trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, and you're looking for those kind of points that you would say, or something that you can grasp. And unfortunately, Glenn was the superpower thing. I think we got a little bit more out of Muji, right? We got a little bit more out of him. I mean, Muji actually gave us something about Breece Hall, which is something that we were looking for. We're all like, what are you doing with him? Definitely the franchise tag. I mean, too bad we can do 2 tags, one franchise tag for, Breece Hall and one of the other tags for AVT, because that's somebody that you could do the, what's the other franchise tag, Jake? There's 2 of them.
There's the transition tag, and then there is the regular franchise tag.
There's AVT, your transition tag, probably, if you could do both, which we can't, right?
Well, you can only tag one player per offseason. So if they're choosing to go with Breece, so that means AVT is going to be a free agent if they don't get a deal done before free agency.
So if we can get a deal done with Breece, because I feel, he is definitely a dude in the dog that is proven on a bad team that he could still be great. I mean, he went over 1,000 yards with this team. I mean, I know he had a great offensive line, but we had no great offensive caller. Play caller. I mean, Engstrom is okay. Hopefully, Wright, who is a professional, can learn about our new game and the motion that we're talking about. I've seen all of those things that he doesn't do in the motion game. Hopefully, he does do better, but it is security so that Glenn can go on the other side of the ball and call a defense. My question is, who's the head coach? If he's, I'd like to see a little bit more of that. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, he can still do both. But at this point, Muji gave us a little bit more from this, and I just think that trading up, I think, is a good thing that we can do. And as Maniacs, can't wait for this. This is exciting coming up again. I think this is going to be better than last year. I mean, last year was great. I mean, with Jay Quest making the calls and to the radio stations and all that good stuff, and Bobby coming back, and everybody comes back for this. And that's what I love. The community comes back together, and we all love each other. And we're always there for each other. We always go to the meetups, and I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I really do. And Jake, you're the best.
Luppy, what a legend.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
Asmaniac Madness fans are getting a little nuts. Nuts, I tell you. So I just was scrolling X to see if I missed any news, and I see SNY Jets has tweeted what I believe is my question and answer to Darren Muji from the presser earlier today. I referenced this during the conversation I had when Zach Rosenblat from The Athletic joined the show. I'm just going to run it. This is the first time I've heard it because I literally just saw it. So what did Bill O'Reilly say? F it, we'll do it live. Here we go. This was my back and forth with Muji about balancing winning now and the 3-1s we're all talking about already in 27. That's my voice, but you guys can't hear it. You'll hear Muji.
Yeah, we want to compete and be better, and we're going to be better next year. And having 3-1s gives us a lot of flexibility in the future. So I'm excited about the 3-1s at 27, but really excited about the draft capital we have this year too.
I feel like there was more of the answer that SNY edited out. But anyway, again, that's kind of the thing that we have to talk about. They got to be a lot better in 26, but there's a fine line of how aggressive you're going to be better. You're not going to mortgage your future for Mac Jones, are you? Right? You're not going to mortgage your future to try and find your franchise quarterback this offseason if that, in all likelihood, doesn't exist. You can't trade up to 1. You're going to be aggressive and take Ty Simpson. They have to just try and add to the team, show real progress, and then earn the right to take their swing in 27. That's a lot easier for Muji to do than it is for Glenn, and that's the conundrum. Couple gifted memberships here. J-Boy in the Asmaniac raffle for
Good job.
1. Derek the Jet fan in the Asmaniac raffle for 1.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Leany in North Carolina in the Asmaniac raffle for 1.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Slow and steady, we're going to get on our way to our jersey giveaway. All right, we got more heavy hitters on the line that want in on the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing and get ready for Mikey Midnight.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not going to touch anything, I promise.
Mikey? No. It's so weird. It works when he's on hold. You guys have to understand my frustration as someone who does this every day, right? I could see the callers when they're on hold. So I see Mikey's there, and I always go out of my way to try to get to him quickly because I'm worried if I don't, we're going to lose him. And now he's back. But Mikey, can you hear me? Hold on. Let me bring on a guy that you could talk to who can ask you that question. Max, do your thing.
Can you hear? Honestly, Mikey, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mikey? Mikey, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mikey? Mikey, can you hear me? Buddy, can you hear me? Good job. Mikey, can you hear me, honestly? Selmo, can you hear me?
If Mad Max ain't yapping about jets, that boy, he's jamming, he's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stop yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman, he got an orange wall.
What's up, Asmaniacs? How you guys doing today? So let's talk about.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me, guys? Let's talk.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jake. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that press conference. Oh my God, Aaron Glenn is so clueless. He was like, "Oh my God, my defensive calling is such a superpower." Honestly, Aaron Glenn, this is your superpower right now. This is your superpower. The salsa dance. That's the only good thing you're good at, Aaron Glenn. Good job. Your defensive play call is not is a superpower. Your defense is a horrible. And you know, if I was a beat reporter, I would have punched him in the face like that. Like if I was a journalist or a beat reporter, I'd be like, Aaron, I'll be asking this. Aaron, you had 42 interceptions and many pick sixes in your Jets career as a player for a corner from 1994 to 2000. How do you coach a team that has 0 interceptions? It's embarrassing. That's total levels of ineptitude. Can you hear me?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Good job.
Thank you, Mad Max, for whatever that was. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. Barbarosa's on the line. He's next. Hello, Barbarosa.
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Can you hear me?
Oh, can I hear you all right?
All right.
Can you hear me?
For some reason, I can't hear you, so I'll just be quick. So if that's Aaron Glenn's superpower, I wonder what's his weakness? Like, what's his weakness if his superpower is play call? That's the first thing I wondered. The second thing, if I had a superpower, if we're going like with X-Men rules, then I think I'd be a shapeshifter, being able to turn into anything I wanted. You know, I don't know. I think it'd be cool. We could give it to the Jets, and then they could turn into a winning team. But if we're not doing X-Men rules, then I'd probably be a teleporter, and then I would never have to pay for transportation or travel. Peace out, guys.
Barbarosa, I know you couldn't hear me, but excellent call. Excellent call. Couple membership shout outs here. Snowball in the Asmaniac raffle for 5. It's our guy Jet Worldwide. And here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Hell yeah. Memberships are flowing. We're up to 14, 6 away from the raffle. Who's going to be a hero today? J-Boy in the raffle for 1. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Hawk in the raffle for 1. We're getting a Hawk sighting. Whoa.
Play call is my superpower, really.
We know Hawk's superpower is defending Zach Wilson to the death. How's that going, Hawk? We still truthing for Zach, or we have retired from that? I haven't asked you in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls before we wrap this baby up. Again, we're going to have live content on the show tomorrow in the morning and in the afternoon. Interviews will drop on the channel as well. I'm going to put my backdrop up at some point here, but we don't need it right now. So it's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls.
Woo, 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 woo. Is Aaron Glenn smoking cigarettes again, thinking he could get superpower? Wow! What's next? What's next? Him maybe put a fire. Maybe give him the Superman, Super Mario Leaf going. Super Aaron Glenn. Woo!
Hey, B, show us how Aaron Glenn flies.
Woo! Yeah, weirdo. I mean, he ain't no Super Mario, I'll tell you that. There's only several people that can fly. Superman, Batman, Mario.
Batman
brother.
can't fly. Wait. Batman cannot fly.
Yeah? If he has the cape on, Batman can fly.
He glides. He doesn't fly. Superman can actually fly. Batman can only jump and then glide.
Mega Man can fly. Mega Man's very, very talented. But we are gonna succeed.
Hey, Wonder Woman could fly.
Never got into Wonder Woman. Never did. Never got into Wonder Woman. I'm only into Mega Man.
Would you make sweet love to her if she gave consent?
Oh, hey!
Well, these are fair questions.
Keep
As
your
everyone looks at me right
pants
now.
on. Don't get freaky and can remember these words. Hey! calm your freaky down.
Calm your freaky down.
Yeah, that's how you do it. We're gonna
Hey,
get some.
what's your
guys.
superpower? Aaron Glenn said his superpower is play calling. What's yours?
My superpower is brain thinking, and also kamikaze-like skills. Also, fucking diarrhea, cha cha cha.
Little diarrhea, cha cha cha.
Not that one. Not that. Not that.
I know
one.
your
That-
superpower. You can unleash deadlies.
Oh, no, I don't think so. That's only when you have like certain problems. But like I'm gonna say right now, we will succeed. We will get guys, and don't worry, because time will tell when the time is right. And come,
get your heads out of your asses.
Beast, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, who better than the big fella to get us over the threshold? 10 gifted memberships to the community. Hit it, big fella. Raffle coming up. I'm going to have to count the names. Matthew Grainer, Beagle Lover, Planet For Us, John Hardigan, K-Rock, Garrett Lowe, Alexander Santiago, Larry Romano, Jay Grill, and Sam Aiken, all receiving a gifted membership from the big fella.
Play call is my superpower, really.
And our superpower is having the best fans in sports that tune into this show. Uno Jets in the raffle for 2. Thank you, Uno. Always appreciate you supporting the channel. Going to do a couple more calls here with anyone who wants in. Again, I'll keep announcing it. I'll make a graphic when I get some time this week. I've been so swamped getting everything set. This is our first day of broadcasting. I had some major tech issues in the morning, so I'm just glad we were able to get both live shows on the air. Was able to tape a great interview with Mike Florio that will drop on the channel soon. Chad says, the guy behind you looks bored. Can he join the show? Which guy? Here's what we got behind me here. We got Cody and Landry over there doing their thing. Jordan Reed now making his rounds. He's on with Eric Allen and the Jets over there. Aaron Glenn was 2 tables over earlier today, him and Mooj. I'm so annoyed with the Glenn thing because it's not even the Jets' fault. Like the national media, like other reporters, just ask these terrible questions, and I got 2 questions in with Muji, and Glenn, I was dying to get one in, and I couldn't. Bothered by it. Anyway. I digress. Let's get to more of your calls before we wrap this baby up. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a guy that I would say is among the most popular callers in this community. And in honor of Asmaniac Madness, it is fitting that he has called in because I would say this man's rise to Asmaniac stardom coincided with last year's tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
He thinks that Gorman needs to get a frickin' job. This cowboy hates to see Asmaniacs complain. What they call him, one-punch rigger. You need to get a job. What they call him, one-punch rigger. The beast is on his ass. They call him one-punch rigger. Has anyone seen Dean Mack? They call him one-punch rigger. He'll only need one.
Jake, what's happening?
Dave.
I got my official hat for the Asmaniac Rumble. Excuse me.
It looks good, Dave.
Yeah, well, we have to get fired up. This is our season now. What else do we have? What else do we have?
Super Bowl. This is it.
This is the height of the season, right? The end of February, the waning days of winter into March. Are they going to let you into the stadium over there? Do you get to go to the Lucas Oil Stadium or no?
Yeah, I could go. I went 2 years ago. It's kind of boring in person, you know? It's much better to watch on TV when you know what you're specifically looking at. It was cool to go walk around that stadium just to see it, but I don't know if I'll make it over there this year. I'll kind of see what the workflow is like.
They're not going to invite you for the Rich Eisen 40 or no?
No, I will not be invited to that, I don't believe. Although I did see Rich making the rounds today, so we had him on in August. We had him on at the Combine 2 years ago. I'm going to see if he has any time we can get him on the show.
Well, he probably gets razzed over there being a Jets fan, doesn't he?
No, 100%. The problem with him, he's such a big name that if he walks in here, you have everyone coming up to him. So I met him last year in the lobby, away from people, and that's how I was able to book him. And he only did my show. The Jets themselves tried to get him on, and he didn't have time. So he did me a favor. So we'll see if we can pull that off again.
Boy, that was quite a feat by Nick. 14 hours driving there through that storm, man.
That's achievement, right, Dave?
I give that guy a lot of credit. That is a bad storm to drive through. I don't, he knows what it is to drive through Pennsylvania now. It's a long state to drive through, but fortunately, we didn't have too much snow except for down the southeastern part. But yeah, he's driving back too?
He's driving back. You know what, Dave? I want to show everyone this. Ladies and gentlemen, former Jets GM John Izek walking right over there. There he is, folks. The Izek 12. Never forget.
Was it
12?
12?
Thank you for Quincy Anunua. Unfortunately, he got hurt.
Yeah.
There he is. Everyone see John Izek over there? All right.
What an underachiever that guy was.
Yeah,
Bye, John.
That was not great.
Anyway, so what happened today at the press conference? Did Glenn bomb out again or what?
Well, I mean, I like the accountability he took at the beginning. Again, nothing but like, what does it matter, right? No, we've heard this. It doesn't win games. That's it. He did acknowledge like, oh, there's narratives out there about the Jets, us, Woody, and like I know we got to win if we're going to change that. It's like, yes, that's all that truly matters. Win football games, and the narrative will be one of positivity.
Well, hey, it's make or break time for that guy. That's it. You know what? Here's the biggest, I don't want to say fear, but the disturbing fact I'm worried about with this whole draft of having all these draft choices. And I'm just afraid of the interference on this guy. I don't want to hear this scout stuff. And I don't want us being called haters. That's, because we have our opinions. This is an opinion, my own opinion. I don't, we're here, we have 2 years of good draft choices, okay? Chances to get good players. Let's not, have him, try to jump in and decide his own rear end, bring us guys just for that. We this, I don't know who's making all the decisions there, whether it's a combination of him and Muji, but that's the biggest trepidation I have at this whole draft coming up. Really, they're not going to draft the right players. That he's going to try to interfere too much to save his rear end. Because listen, it's make or break time for this guy. All
100%.
that, it's and he's capable of doing anything there. Because he's got supposedly he has full control. I hope he, maybe it's waned down a little bit since the whole Wink deal, but I don't know. What is your opinion of that, Jake?
Well, I still think Glenn has final say on things, but I do see the path, especially like the more people I talk to in football, Muji's got a lot of fans from people, and maybe that's just, people being polite. I don't know. But like, again, you talk about Aaron Glenn with people and people are like, what? Like there are people that I've spoken to that like forget he wasn't fired. Like, cause like it was just like, like that's the perception that, a dead coach walking. Well, he didn't get fired. He's still here. But with Muji, it's like, well, you guys might have a GM. Like I spoke to someone that covered Muji in Denver before, and he was like, Muji might realize like he's got a chance to stick around here. Like his best bet is to get along with everyone here because he's shown like a pulse essentially.
When you speak to people on the inside, do they really have a negative view of Glenn? Like he doesn't have any chance, or he's just?
It's more of just a negative view of him and the Jets as a whole, and like how bad they have been.
Yeah. Well, listen, we want everybody to succeed, but he's just.
He's got to give us a reason to believe in him, right? It's one thing to say you learned a lot, and you're not going to make the same mistakes again. I pulled this screen grab that I wanted to show Dave. Like it was, I guess it was a direct quote. Let me find it here. Everything's a little slow because I'm out of my normal setup, but this was like something that Glenn said during the presser today. He made some mistakes that he won't replicate this year, but like this is like Fool's, like it's. The words ring hollow until we see tangible results, because I go back to last year when they had the debacle in that game in London and Aaron Glenn said he learned from the end of the first half, not throwing the Hail Mary. And then literally a week later, he did the exact same thing in the Panther game that me and the Asmaniacs were at in person. He didn't throw the Hail Mary at the end of the first half. So like literally the same exact thing played out. He made the same mistake. So and you could say all these things in the offseason, but this fan base is not going to buy it until they see tangible results on the field.
Well, when you've been in football that and been around people like he always quotes, Parcells. You've been around those people. Doesn't something rub off? I mean, things like that, in game planning. Hey, I know it's very complicated to be a coach. And when you're on one side of the ball, you don't have the whole team. And he took the whole. Supposedly he's the CEO and all this rigmarole. But you know what? It all comes down to you're the head coach. There's no excuses. Okay, that's the bottom line. Salah had, he had his opportunity. He was a man of, no discipline. Letting the inmates run the asylum, and he ends up to be better than this guy. That's a good one, and he gets another job. So these guys, they're just like they just go through the system. They're like used rubber tires. They're used up, put them through, and put them out again. We need people that are actually going to do stuff. And this, and don't anybody put that we're haters and, we just don't. These are all opinions that are based on fact. Okay. Like you say, Jake, he's got to prove it. Okay. The proof is in the pudding. Talk is cheap. All right. That's all. Okay. Everybody wants to see the guy succeed, but don't speak out of both sides of your mouth. And that's what he does.
Again, he could say a lot of things now. Actions speak louder than words. He said a lot a year ago and all throughout the summer. And I tried to buy in. It's like, this guy's this confident. He knows, wow, the coaching under Salah must have been so bad that he's going to come in and fix it. And it got worse. So now he dug himself a huge hole that he's trying to get out of. We'll see if he can do it. If he can't, you got to hope the roster's in a better place a year from now, that whoever the head coach is taking over a situation where path to a quarterback, some pieces in place, and there's some hope that will be renewed for this franchise.
Just make sure when he drafts that we have players that will transition, that are quality players, not just reaches. We've seen too many reaches here in the past.
We have.
We just need solid drafting of the players that fit the positions to the best of their ability, and not reaching because you're to satisfy your own job security. That's my fear. I don't want to say fear because I don't fear anything, but for our fans, that's what they deserve. Okay, they deserve things going forward, especially the young guys, so they don't have to put we're haters in the chat because we've seen good things. So that's all. I just want to see this. We have to see progression. Okay, not regression every year. It's regressing instead of progressing. That's all. We're all fair here. I don't think anybody's unfair. Okay, just that some guys just don't get it. They don't understand trying to reach for the best. Their loyalty to him is unbelievable for somebody that's proved nothing. That's it.
He's got to show us. Well said, Dave. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Jake, take care. Have a good week.
Dave Brigger.
He thinks that Gary needs more shots upside his head. This cowboy hates when you don't believe in achievement. Well, they call him One Punch Brigger. The moon landing was free. They call him One Punch Brigger. His claim is not too dirty. Call him One Punch Brigger. Hated Johnson's fight his ass. One Punch Brigger. Cause he know they need done.
Dave's right. Actions speak louder than words. We've heard this. Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Jenner G. Let's go, Jenner G.
The Jeff fans getting a little crazy.
And I've seen Jenner G in action. She's crazy. Can't believe it's been a year. Happy Asmaniac Madness. Can't wait. Bart Scott style. P.S. Amanda, the 5%ers got your back. Gary, you going down, son. Baddies assemble. Wow. I don't know. Could the committee match up Gary versus Amanda Madison? Could they do it? I mean, they could do anything. Will they do it? That's the question. Luppy, who called earlier, has just gifted not one, not two, not three. How about 5 memberships?
It's J-E-T-S, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
Here's who got him, according to Mr. Tube. Logan Zaruski, New Era Lifestyle, JTBP, Fernando B. But wait, there's more. The Great Leany, speaking of 4%ers, maybe 5%ers. I have to check the recent YouTube demographics. Leany in North Carolina in the Asmaniac raffle for 5. Whoa. Let's go, Leany.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Leany gifting 5 memberships. They went to Patrick Cahill, Michael Edwards, Freak Zoid, Paolo P83, and Hunna Real 1. All receiving a membership. We're going to do the raffle for the Jets jersey coming up. So if you want to enter, last chance. Giving away Namath, Klecko, Martin, Corbett, Revis, Mangold, or Keyshawn as your jersey options. Bino says, Brigga State Achievement coming March 26th. Bino likes Dave Brigga to cut down the net. Excellent. I could see it. Dave's got a lot of fans in the community. Speaking of people with a lot of fans in the community, perhaps our final caller is.
He's home, his belly's on the bed. That's what feels good. On the road, his belly's on the bed. In a dirty hotel room. He calls the show, his belly's on the bed. He's just more comfortable. He got a beard, loves the jets, super jets. He loves a big fella, sleeps alone. There's no room on his bed. Well, that's a big fella.
Hey, man. What's up?
What's up, big fella? Nice shirt.
Thanks, man. It's an honor to follow the provost of Brigham State. It really is. I mean, Dave's a great dude. I met him in Tampa. He's amazing. How's the combine going so far?
Yeah, today's been a little hectic just because they don't let you set up a day prior. So Glenn speaks at 1:00. I wanted to do a show before they spoke because otherwise I wouldn't be going live till the afternoon. I don't want to go a whole day without live content on the channel. Yeah. So between the getting up early, setting things up, there were some issues there. Then kind of doing live YouTube on the fly, quickly putting together the thumbnail and the title. I'm a one-man band. I'm doing all this on my own. So just try to get everything situated to then do the normal show. Could be a challenge at these live events, but I think connection-wise, we sound good. So that's all I care about at the end of the day.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. We really do. You're doing a great job.
You guys make it possible. This community. We're the only person who could come to these events as one person. Let me put it like that. Like all these teams here, like the Jets have like 15 people that like run their media stuff. Like we have one person, and Gator helps me on the side remotely. Like look at all the teams of people, and like we're just a one-stop shop here. So we're the underdog at the combine every year, which is fun.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. We really do. Getting to the Glenn press conference. He's a superhero, bro. He's a freaking superhero, bro. It's crazy. And
what's your superpower, big fella? You can't say being big.
Ask my wife, bro. Now,
play call is my superpower, really.
Now I'm off topic.
Glenn Presser, what stood out?
Well, the superhero thing, but also he said he was going for he was trying to develop this staff he brought in, right? He took his time for it. It took him 2 years, bro. It took him because everybody he got last year is gone. So, I mean, and why is Harris still on the team? He oversaw.
I couldn't tell you.
He oversaw a part of the team that had 0 interceptions. That makes no sense. I don't get it.
I would have loved to have had more opportunities to speak with him. It's just I'll listen to what he said on the Jets one-on-one with Eric Allen if he gave any interesting insight there on his staff. Because again, in these settings, like it was tough to get everything asked to him. But one of the questions I wanted to ask him is like, what's different about your hiring process this year versus last year? Right? Like you touted your staff as a thing you were so excited about a year ago, and that was one of the things that Tannenbaum said was attractive about hiring Aaron Glenn. He put together a great coaching staff. Well, obviously the coaching staff was historically bad, so he fired most of them. What changed now? What was different about your process? The one thing he did say was Muji and Rick Spielman were more involved this go around. He said that they were helpful, so maybe some of their recommendations were considered now. But I'd like to get more information on what exactly is going to be different. Like Frank Reich almost retired. Like, is he just coming out for a paycheck? Like, what is the selling point for Frank Reich?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's legitimate. And also, well, with Muji, I mean, I'm happy he said Breece Hall's coming back. I'm really happy that he said he's coming back because, that was a big question. Everybody was like, is he going to leave? Are we going to draft somebody later? Are we going to pick up a free agent? So now that that's put to bed, that gives me solace about like this upcoming season with him. I don't think we're gonna be great, but it's good. It's good that we have somebody that actually knows what they're doing back there. And
Muji's shown competency, right? Again, like they didn't trade Breece, so yes, we're gonna keep him either on the tag or we're gonna sign. Like I don't know, he passes the smell test of like I don't think you're totally inept as a GM so far.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we need. That's what we need. We saw an inept GM walk by just a few minutes ago.
Oh yeah. Todd Bowles walked by earlier too. I don't think I was live at that point yet.
Really?
Like every former Jet, like I stood next to Salah at something earlier today. It's so funny how everyone's just like in the football world in one spot for a week.
The Todd Bowles special. You can't beat it. But I saw all my fellow Asmaniacs calling in. I figured I'd show my face a little bit, because Sunday's the day. And
Sunday at 6 Eastern. I'm going to make a graphic, but I'm targeting Sunday at 6 Eastern for the Selection Sunday Asmaniac Madness bracket reveal show.
It's gonna be awesome. Last year was fantastic. This year, there's more people, new people. Old people aren't there anymore. It's gonna be a totally new thing. So it's gonna be something else. And for the people who haven't seen it before, I have a feeling you're gonna like it.
Watch the full recap video that the great Human Funding Gator helped put together. I showed it in 2 parts during commercial breaks on this live show. But for those who have never seen Asmaniac Madness, it's 13 minutes or 14 minutes. They just recapping the best moments from the tournament a year ago.
Yeah. No, I will definitely do that. Like I said, keep up the good work, man. Everything you're doing great. And it was fun filling in for Beast with the raffle the other day. That was a good time. But,
you think Beast should be worried, big fella, that you could be Wally Pippin him?
No, he's Babe Ruth. He's Babe Ruth. We'll let him be the greatest. And if you need me, I'll be there. So.
Hey, Bruce, huh? You mean this fella right here?
I still think Daniel Voldemort, but
you can always beat Joe D. You can always beat Joe. You can always beat Joe D.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Hey, little Joe D.
Hey, big fella, Beast. Yeah. Thank you both.
Thank you, man.
All right, I'm counting raffle names. Last call if you want to enter for your chance to win a Jets jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a woman who is trying to take down Gary in this year's tournament. Will she have a chance to do it? Amanda Madison's next. Hello, Amanda.
I'm calling in really fast. I just wanted to give Genergy a shout out since.
Speak louder. We can't hear you.
So I'm like in my office though.
Louder.
So I don't want to be
project
too loud. But yeah, this is.
Oh, you're in your office.
Mm-hmm. I guess while I'm here, I'll flex my Jake cup and what all my coworkers make fun of me for. Can I flip the camera? Is there a way to? I don't think I can, but
hit the flip
we're
button.
We're just gonna stand right next to it.
Oh, the Asmaniac Shrine.
Yeah, so a lot of my coworkers make fun of me and they ask like, who is this? What is this? Freaking Bad Bunny. But I'm like, it's the Jake Asman Show. And we've procured a few followers, new subscribers for you, Jake. So,
ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
See this? This is the problem with feminism. Working away your prime years, your childbearing years, your best years. You're working in a cubicle for not allowed to speak at a normal volume. It's not good. Not good, Amanda. Not going to make you happy in the long run. How are you, ma'am?
I just don't want to disrupt my coworkers because I'm very respectful of everybody else. But most people are leaving now. And why can't we do? Why can't women do both? Why can't we work and provide for and build a family? Like, who says it's mutually exclusive?
Because there's only 24 hours in a day and you can't be 2 places at once.
But now I can work from home. So don't you think the right job that sees my value as an employee will also understand that I'm valuable as a mother?
Well, I don't know your value as a worker. I don't know what kind of work you do. I'll assume you're a good worker.
I'm a finance bro, Gary.
You're a finance bro? Hopefully not private equity. Not private equity, are you?
No. I used to do investment banking, but now I'm a government employee.
Okay. Because if you really, really hate your country and you really, really want to do as much damage to the people in your country as possible, get into private equity, right?
Wait, what do you have against private equity?
destroying the country. It's putting good businesses out of business. It's
That's
loading them
like
with debt.
That's like everyone that
and
I went
then
to college
destroying
with
them.
is the dream job is private equity.
If you really hate your country and you really want to make as many people suffer as possible, get into private equity. But you gotta really, really hate your country. Like really hate the people in your country. Really.
I'm leaving work, so I'm gonna disconnect from Wi-Fi and lose connection. So you might
But
obliterate me right now.
no, I don't want to.
But
I don't want. I don't want to do
I
that.
I disagree with your take. Private equity is good if it's the right shop running it.
Ask Sprinkles Cupcakes if it's good. Ask KB Toys if it's good. Stores that we grew up on. Ask them if it's good. Ask their employees if it's good. But I don't want to argue with you over private equity. My larger point was that no, you can't be a mom and be with your kids and be in the office all day. Right? You can't do both. You gotta pick one or the other.
I was raised by a working mother and father, and they instilled the importance of resilience, hard work, like effort, grit, perseverance into me at a young age. So I think for Decker's sake, you should probably shift your perspective and expand your definition of what role women play in society.
Sure. Let me ask you this question. So right now, my special needs son had a rough morning. So my wife is at the park with him right now, playing at the park, and then they're going to watch his favorite show and cuddle on the couch because he's had a rough day and he doesn't talk. Right? Like if she was at work, she couldn't do any of those things. She'd just be at work and he'd be, I guess, in a school being raised by the government or something. I don't know how going in. Maybe you're great. Maybe you're a great finance bro. I have no idea, but I can't see how that's more valuable and it's going to make you happier than being with your kids. I don't understand that. And no one's ever. And all the data says that women aren't happy. It all suggests that women are miserable.
I was going to say this is a point that I can actually agree with you on. Women's increasing ability to financially support ourselves is leading to more unhappiness. So I don't disagree that carrying and having a child isn't the greatest joy of every woman's life. I bet it is. There's nothing that you can really do that probably can replace or be stronger than the bond between a mother and her child. But for the moms that have ambition, or for the women that have ambition, I just think the narrative should be open now that we're able to work from home and there's all this technology that allows people to do jobs that they couldn't have done before. Why can't someone be a mother and a business owner? I think
I'll give you a personal. I have an aunt who's a doctor.
Without also being the annoying, whatever type of blue-haired woman that you're referring to.
No, I'm not even referring to blue-haired women. I think conservative women are worse because at least liberal women.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
If they meet again, it will be in the tournament. A rumble between Amanda Madison and Gary 3D Boxing. Chat all over the place with this one. I'm not touching it. All right. I am ready for the raffle, though. So thank you to Amanda and Gary for providing me enough time to be able to appropriately count all the entries here. We're going to give away a Jets jersey to wrap up our second live stream from the Combine today. Ladies and gentlemen, before we spin the Wheel of Champions, though, we say hello to our master of raffle ceremony, Dr. Diarrhea.
Fucking diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. Dr. Diarrhea, give me a break. Come on, man. That's a low blow in my book.
You said it.
Hey, that was only for comedy. When it comes to comedy, that's comedy.
Since when do you understand comedy?
I got hundreds of good comedy movies. The Great Uncle. Oh, even Friday, my movie. But can we wrap it up with a little surprise? Yo, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to spin that 2026 Wheel of Champions. Let's go and spin that wheel. Yeah!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Love them or hate them, you watched. Well done by Beast. Yes, the raffle wheel looks a little more funky than normal. I don't know what setting I clicked on it. I'm not on my normal computer, so that's what it looks like today. Ladies and gentlemen, good luck to everyone. Only one can win. Again, we're playing for a Jets jersey of your choosing. Keyshawn Johnson, Nick Mangle, Darrell Revis, Wayne Corbett, Curtis Martin, Joe Klecko, or Joe Namath. Maybe we'll give you an Ethan Greenberg jersey as well. I don't know. I mean, the Jets, I'm sure we could customize it in the team store for that one. But anyway, someone's going to win a Jets jersey. Good luck. Thanks to everyone who entered. The winner is Leany in North Carolina. How about that? Congratulations to Leany. He's an OG Jet fan. Leany, you're the winner, and this Jet chant is for you. Congrats to Leany. She recently won a signed football by Rex Ryan on the show, and now she's got herself a Jets jersey of her choosing. Again, I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Be checking the channel constantly over the next couple of days. You'll be seeing some interviews. You'll be seeing, obviously, our normal long-form shows in the morning and in the afternoon. Got a bunch of great guests that are still going to join us, but I want to thank Zach Rosenblat. I want to thank Jordan Reed for guest starring during the live version of this very show. Looking forward to another day in Indy starting tomorrow. We'll be live then, so be on the lookout for more content on the channel. Asmaniac Madness Selection Sunday is this Sunday. Be alert for that. And I just want to thank, again, everyone who tunes in and makes these trips possible, because without you, we wouldn't be here. For your support year-round makes it possible to go to the Senior Bowl, to the Super Bowl, and now for the third straight year, the NFL Scouting Combine here in Indy. Enjoy your night. Go Jets, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
And this is my nanny, babysitter, assistant, helper lady.
Hello. Hello.
She goes to Oklahoma.
Morgan, how long have you been a nanny to Decker?
3 years, since 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and Gary's wife have done a great job, because there's no way Decker turned out the way she did because of Gary. I'm just catching up on some of the comments here, and this is for everyone. You know who you are.
Calm your freaky down.
Just saying. Eric says, good thing Jake didn't put Bobby on. Could you imagine? Some of these comments, man. Jake, you don't want to read the comments. Oh, it's true. I can't even read these comments, man. You guys are terrible. Gary, what are your thoughts on everyone seemingly being a big fan of your nanny?
She's fantastic. She's the best.
She is. That she is.
Yeah.
Thank you for the time. Gary's nanny needs her own emoji. This chat is going wild today, folks. All right. Richard Todd is watching the show in delay, says, just saw Gary's nanny. Interesting. What's so interesting about it? Top Cat says we need Scott to normalize the chat again.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.